French fries. It's like, guys, just fucking don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I'll reheat it in my toaster oven and it'll be eaten very quickly. And don't worry about the quality of your French fries. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best. Now it's all ruined. I'm recording. Now it's all ruined, but I did have therapy a couple days ago and spent a majority of it cleaning up my wires. I know Shantira is no longer here, but I feel like she would be proud of me, is all I'm saying. Well, it's a fucking mess again. Anyway, welcome to Busy Phillips is doing her best. I am Busy Phillips, joined, as always, by my partner in crime. So far, not so many crimes have been committed.
I mean, we've broken rules.
A few, maybe. Yeah. Oh, we are rule breakers. That's true. My partner in rule breaking. My partner in my friend. Why am I going to cry? I'm going to cry right now.
Oh, don't cry. Don't get started so soon.
I miss you, though. I really miss you.
I miss you, too. I miss you, too. I do.
Really miss everything, Caissie.
I know. I'm not
even PMSing. I'm going to ovulate this week. You know that because it's the full moon. But I hit the fucking wall. I hit a wall. I don't know all of us have hit walls at different points in this past year, but yeah. I feel like now it's just going to be me crying. I just feel like a couple days ago, I just fucking really hit it. And I'm hearing about all these people that I know in Los Angeles who've gotten vaccines through different ways. And I am indignant and righteous about it, but then also really jealous. And,
yeah, I feel you. I was saying, I saw people in New York that I know getting vaccines, and I'm like,
what?
Oh,
Where?
From home.
Tell me.
I know.
I'm kidding.
But I was like, oh, that person works from home, and my husband works with the public, and I was feeling really bad about it, and then I was like, I can't feel bad about it, and then by a fluke, my husband got vaccinated. So
I heard. Wait, that is the nicest, greatest thing. I'm so happy.
Yeah. I'm really relieved too.
What are the fucking chances that Matt made it through all of this without getting sick, man?
It's wild. He's been super, super cautious. Our friend Dr. Seema, right from the jump, was like, he should be wearing a mask. Here's what he should be doing in his job. She was really helpful. And very early in this pandemic, gave us the groundwork, and obviously we trust her so much. She's an epidemiologist. She gave us the groundwork to just have a set of rules that you could follow to sort of calm yourself down in the eye of this wild storm that we were all going through. And he really just stuck with that and took good care of himself, and also was very lucky because I know a lot of people that took every precaution still wound up getting it. But yeah, just this week, somebody messaged me at midnight saying they had appointments first thing in the morning that weren't taken, and that they'd already thawed the vaccine and it was going to go bad. And so they were giving priority to people that work with the public, rather than throw them out. And so my husband was able to go and get a vaccine.
Oh my God. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
guys, for those of you that don't know, Caissie's husband, Matt, works in retail and has been
in food retail.
Grocery business management. And has grocery management, managing our groceries and the line outside and telling people to put their fucking masks on and getting people yelling in his face and telling him that he's a pussy. And he's like, I know you really want your cat cookies, but you're gonna need to put the fucking mask on. And also during this pandemic, our friend saved a man who was overdosing in the bathroom at the grocery store. In the bathroom or just on the street?
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom. And gave Didn't even hesitate and saved the man's life.
Yeah,
who
he
was
did.
overdosing. That's who Caissie's married to. That's the kind of person we're talking about when we talk about Matt, who's also like a genius writer and like a brilliant mind and a kind person and a fucking funny as all get out human and a great father and a really nice partner. Sorry, I'm zipping up these cords again because I can't allow them to take over my life again.
He's a good egg. And also just, you know, when we talk about like the brokenness of the country, like he was a college professor, and at a certain point we like crunched the numbers and we were like, this is like costing you money. Like this is, you know, he loves teaching but it's nearly impossible to be like a college professor.
I imagine he's great at it,
even if you like go to school and get all this schooling. So at some point he was just like, I might just like start working at a grocery store, like so that we can have steady insurance and blah 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 blah. So yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I could have done that. I don't know. I wouldn't have known the first thing about being able to like survive such a pivot. Talk about a pivot. Yeah, but that's him. He's just, you know, he's the best.
He is the best. Well, I actually have to say, like, I know I started off crying, but that just made me happy to talk about Matt getting that vaccine and how he's been so vigilant and steadfast through this pandemic for the last year and continued working and kept you and the boys safe. And I just feel like that's really made me happy. And now I'm going to cry again.
Oh, he'll be very honored that you cried. Twice. 2 times.
Well, you know, this is our first show without BB Shantira with us, which is sad, but we're going to be filling in. You guys have been so wonderful too, sending in suggestions, people that you'd love to see guest.
I have to say, like,
us.
I really felt honored by the suggestions because you guys have lofty goals for us. People were like, get Oprah. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Like, yeah,
I'll call her up.
Of course. We should 100% reach out. We should just reach out.
Listen, in the past, I reached out to Oprah and her team to surprise you one time, and she did say yes. So, you know, so maybe people are.
And she surprised me.
Yeah. So, you know, she doesn't not
major.
surprise a girl once in a while.
Yeah, but you know what? Also, I was just thinking Tina Fey is co-hosting the Golden Globes this next weekend.
Yeah, Sunday.
Did you know that that's happening?
I did know.
The Golden Globes?
I did know. Sunday.
Oh, I kind of did and I kind of didn't. But I was watching something, I don't even know, and there was an ad for it with her and Polar, and it made me laugh out loud when Tina like looks at the camera and she's like, the stakes have never been lower. And I was like, yep, that's about right. That's like definitely. But maybe I should ask Tina Fey if she that's like almost, that's like on Oprah level.
Yeah.
Ish.
Ask her.
Maybe I'll ask Tina if she'll co-host with us. You know, Tina and her husband and one of their children were in the car on a long drive, and they listened to our episode in which we went off on the John Krasinski kiss on SNL.
Oh, really? How did she feel about that?
Yeah. It was really interesting. I'd love for her to talk about it if she felt like she wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk for her, but Jeff, her husband Jeff, who I've been working with on Girls 5 Eva, and Tina, like, both talked to me about it at great length, and like, we're really glad that they had listened to the show. And I was happy.
Oh, that's good. That's nice. See, everybody listening, you're like 1 degree of separation from Tina Fey, who's also listening sometimes.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
Sometimes. Well, we're going to start off, though, I think, super strong with these guest hosts.
I believe.
Maybe we may have, this person may be recurring out of proximity and convenience. And
he's our Tony Randall.
He is our Tony Randall. Everybody, please welcome. It's me, Ray Padilla.
Hi.
Hi, Raymond.
Hi, Caissie.
Raymond, for those of you who don't know, is Busy's assistant.
Yes.
And we worked together on Busy Tonight. That's how I know
The first time I ever was able to get an assistant. Because someone else was paying for it. And it was really nice. And then when the show was over, I was like, I can't now go back to not having Ray take my dry cleaning and make sure I show up for appointments on time and keep things straight for me. And bring me a fresh celery juice from time to time. And Ray was like, well, I have nothing else going on currently, so
Let
fine.
me ask you a question.
Is that accurate?
Do you like celery juice?
Me? Yeah, I actually really like the taste of it.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I wonder if there's ever anything that, like, if you didn't like celery juice and Ray brings it to you, like, psychologically, would you associate bad juice with Ray? You know what I mean? Because I was also a celebrity assistant, and I felt like a lot of the tasks that I had to do weren't my boss's favorite. And then I was convinced that, like, my bosses were, like, associating me with, like, things they didn't love to do.
I don't think I make Ray. I don't think I ask Raymond to do things that are unpleasant or that I don't want to do. I think that all things being equal, you know me, I always would prefer to do everything myself.
Yes.
That's just who I am.
That's true.
But I do feel like I've realized the value in having someone who I can ask to do the things that I would like to do, but I have a hard time carving out time to do. Like, for instance, you know, I'll see things like for my mom or whatever. Okay, for instance, the last episode of Girls 5 Eva, I had all of the girls sign a script for my mom because, like, since I was a kid, my mom likes to collect them. It's just like a sweet mom thing, whatever. Yeah. And I know it means a lot to her. Now, previously in my life, before before Raymond, that script would have sat somewhere,
right,
until probably 2023, when finally my mother would be visiting me, maybe to help me move even. And she would find it and she would be like, oh, Busy, was this for me? And then I would say, yes, it was. I never sent it to you. I'm so sorry. I got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it went to the back burner. So that's what, for those of you at home who've never had a helper, that's the kind of stuff that, like, Ray helps me with in the day to day. And then sort of larger, bigger picture stuff is like, he helps me keep all the brand stuff straight. And, like, when I'm working and when I'm doing photo shoots and doctor's appointments, and, like, helps me, you know, do all that stuff, like schedule things.
Just keep it together.
Keeps it together.
I won't say which. I've been a celebrity assistant to two people who've both been on the podcast. I won't say which one. I'll try to keep it as anonymous as possible, because who knows? Maybe this person doesn't want me telling.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess.
I'm sure you'll guess it. One of the people that I worked for hated being photographed so much that it was always like, this is one of the things where I would say, you have a photo shoot. I would think that person associated me with the bad news that there was a photo shoot to do. And so
it was Dave Letterman.
I was talking one time. I was like, there's a photo shoot. And this person was like, photo shoot. So, like, didn't want to do it. And I was like, hey, listen, it's happening at the desk. So you could keep your sweatpants on and only wear fancy clothes on top. And then that boss was like, oh my God, you're a genius. Go to my business manager on Monday and tell him that I'm giving you a raise.
David Letterman.
And they really meant it.
Yeah. You deserved
I really
all
got
that.
A raise for the
you deserved it.
For the idea of staying in sweatpants and sneakers.
And now we know, because of COVID and the Zoom.
Yeah. I mean,
that we can all wear sweatpants all the time.
I was super ahead of my time on what could happen on the bottom.
25 years ago. Raymond, can you hear Ray? I want to talk to Ray about a pivot because Ray is an LA bitch. He's a real LA baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I am here now. And it has been a pandemic. And when I was doing Girls 5 Eva, it became just like so clear to me that I really needed someone to help here, especially because we don't have really like help for the girls here. That's just all Mark, and Sarah Beth is here to kind of help, but like she's also writing her next album. So that's, you know, we all have our own things that we're working on. And so it was just like very clear that I needed Ray to help me. So after Ray finished helping me with everything in LA, I was like, dude, here's the deal. Like, I can't continue to have you be in LA because there's nothing for you to do there. I really do need you here. And it's totally up to you. I would love it if you could come out here for a bit and help me, you know, be my assistant here and see what it's like and whatever, if you're down for it. But if you're not, I get it. And we'll figure out how to part ways. And maybe you like work for me part time and handle schedule stuff or whatever. Like like, I don't know, like we'll figure it out. And Ray was like, what did you think?
Well, at first it was a no.
Yeah, it was a major no.
It was a big no. It was because you asked me before the holidays.
It was too hard for Ray to wrap his head around it.
Yeah, it was just a lot of like, well, where am I going to be for Christmas and what am I going to do? And it was just a lot. And then over time, it just became clear that I was going to have to come.
Well, if you wanted to continue.
Yeah, working. Yeah.
Working. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Ray, I found this apartment that's like I think it might be an illegal sublet. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to update you on that.
Okay. Well, Ray's basically squatting in no, I'm kidding. I found him. A friend of mine has a really cute like little studio that Ray is staying in, and he packed his bag. And really, I have to say, the journey, the pivot of West Coast Ray to East Coast Ray in the midst of a pandemic.
Dead of winter.
In the dead of winter.
Yeah.
The coldest winter on record on the East Coast. The most snow New York has seen in like 10 years. Seriously.
Yeah.
It snowed fucking yesterday. Your Instagram stories yesterday were killing me. It was insane. It was snowing slush.
It was, and I'm not a meteorologist, but I didn't think it could snow when it was above 32 degrees because that's the point at which water freezes.
Oh, it was.
And it was a full blizzard.
It was a blizzard.
And I was in sneakers because when I left the house, it was warm and not maybe gonna rain.
We had met our realtor out and walked there, and while we were walking, I was wearing my like Alex Mills.
I was trying to remember what you were wearing when I was walking.
No, I was wearing like my faux fur coat. I like arrived like I looked like a cartoon character, like melted.
Yeah.
Like my faux fur had like melted.
Yeah, like drenched.
I was soaking wet. It was so gross.
Mm-hmm. Like a wet teddy bear.
I looked like Gina. I looked like a wet little Gina. And yeah, it was not great. It was not a great weather day yesterday.
It wasn't. And it's just like you can never prepare at all here. And I had a friend who sent me a text that's like, here's the thing. You're actually in a dystopian society because you can never regulate your temperature in New York at which you're comfortable. Never. And you like, there's so many people, even though 500,000 people have left, there's still so many people here and there's trash everywhere and it's dirty. And so it's just like feast or famine. You know what I mean? You got to just figure it out.
Yeah.
But also, though, what's become clear to me, like, remember those pictures of all the people in the park in New York last year, like after the winter and after the real, like, terrible COVID spike had happened and they were like on the downside and things had relaxed a bit. And there was this like picture of everybody in the park.
Yes.
And then people were like, the perspective was off and you couldn't tell how close people were. I fucking get it. Like, I understand now, after only living here for 6 months, and Ray's only been here for 2. I like fully understand that as soon as I see a beam of sunshine, I am going to run and stand in it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was telling Raymond that I was saying to Busy that like New York is really hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Here's what's hard about it is like all of my times in New York, I was always working for someone who had like a pretty amazing life. You know what I mean? And like just living it up and being like, what's not to love about New York? Like I eat the best food and I go to the best places and my apartment's fucking fantastic. And I was saying to Busy, like, if New York is your struggle city, it's a real struggle, you know, like it's really, and some people are built for it. Some people really thrive when they're, you know, just having their salad days, their honeymoon days in New York. But I mean, it was hard for me. I felt very isolated. Even like after years there, I found New York to be really isolating and, you know, just hard for me personally.
It's interesting. I mean, we're here in such a weird time and nothing's normal for anyone. But I don't know. Like I'm very uncomfortable here.
Yeah.
Like super uncomfortable in all the ways. Like LA is my home. I moved there literally a month after I turned 18.
Yeah.
I've lived there longer than I've lived anywhere else. I know it like the back of my fucking hand. I'm a walking Thomas guide. That's a deep cut, guys. Thomas guides were these big book maps that you had to buy in the late 90s and early 2000s and probably mid 2000s before like GPS and like smartphones were invented, because you never knew how to get anywhere. In LA is so confusing. So you had these Thomas guides and you would look up an address and then flip through to find the right page. And then you have to like figure out how to get there. So I had a Thomas guide.
Even harder than MapQuest.
I mean, it was so fucking hard. Can you imagine me at 18 years old trying to get from Westchester, which is right by LAX, where I went to Loyola Marymount University, to like Deep Valley, like Van Nuys, in some fucking strip mall for an audition for some pilot, like that's
no ma'am,
you know, independently produced or whatever.
No ma'am.
It was a goddamn nightmare. But I do know every street in LA like by heart, and I can get anywhere. I can do it in my sleep. I could do it blindfolded. Like, it's my home, you know? And
it's your home, yeah.
It's my home.
It's like imprinted on you.
It's imprinted on me, for sure. Like the memory palace, right? The entire city is my memory palace.
Yes, yes.
But so I feel really uncomfortable here. Like, I don't know where the fuck I got lost in the West Village.
Well, New York
last
is
week.
tricky.
Oh, you did?
It's mostly a grid. But then at either end, it tapers and it's not a grid. It's a bunch of like streets that look like alleys and
it's all triangles.
And then people act like you're a fucking idiot when you don't know where you're going. And it's like, well, but it was a grid like 5 blocks ago, and now it's just like, I don't know where I am. I used to get lost in the Village all the time when I lived there. In the Village.
I was very annoyed at myself at getting lost. But, you know, because I have like a great sense of direction. Or do I?
Yeah.
Or is it just that I lived in Los Angeles for fucking however many years, 22, 3 years. And I just knew it. I just had it memorized.
I don't have a great sense of direction. And it took me years to figure out that like even streets go east and odd streets go west, and I mean years. Like nobody tells you. They just act like you're an idiot if you don't know.
I didn't know that until just now.
Even east, odd west.
For New York?
But
even east.
Yeah, in New York.
Odd west.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we're thinking, that's right.
but like nobody tells you.
I love that we both just took a pause and we're like, Yeah.
Well, because we just thought of an address and we were like, yeah, that makes sense.
I just thought of the street we're on.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you. They're just so eager to jump down your throat if you accidentally call Houston Street Houston, because you've only been there for 5 minutes. So, it's just one of those
Speaking
things.
of which, I really miss Houston's.
Wait, they have Houston's in Manhattan, don't they? Is
There's
it closed?
one, but it's like...
Where is it?
It's actually not far from here. I would pass it on my way home. I feel like it's like on Madison and like 40
But I can't
something.
imagine they had it together to eat outside.
I think that they had takeout, but they weren't doing fries for takeout.
Then pass.
Which is like, why are these restaurants being so precious about their French fries? It's like, guys, just fucking don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I'll reheat it in my toaster oven.
Yeah, toast.
And it'll be eaten very quickly. And don't worry about the quality of your French fries. There are a couple places here that are like, we can't guarantee the quality, so we're not doing this item from our menu. I was like, yeah, it's a pandemic. I don't give a fuck. Like, just give me...
Everybody gets it that, like, some foods don't travel well. Like, we've all
also, quality
been
went
around.
out the door 10 months ago.
That's what I mean.
Like,
10 months ago, quality ceased to exist. I'm, like, happy to
God.
take some soggy-ass fries, Houston. Get it together. Anyway, so Ray has been pivoting in his journey here, and I have to say, I find the Instagram story content to be worth it in a lot of ways. Worth the pivot. What do you think? If you guys aren't following Ray, it's me, Ray Padilla. I really highly recommend, because every day is some fresh hell for Ray.
Yeah.
You were attacked by geese.
My son Lincoln says that Ray's Instagram is one of his favorite shows.
Aw.
I've been really looking forward to every episode because just like the Nikes and the slush yesterday.
Because every day, like you said, like I'm similar to you. I moved to LA when I was 18 and I've never left. It's my home.
Same.
It's my home. My friends are there. Like it's everything. But like coming here, everything is new.
Yes.
Despite having been here many times.
Many.
Despite having spent like weeks here before, which is like I used to have a 10-day limit because it's just too hard.
It's so fucking hard.
It's so hard. But it's like every day is a journey.
And it's even harder now because it's like you're not Ubering. Like you're really we were talking to the kids about it because I was like, guys, if this wasn't a pandemic, like an Uber would pull up, it would take us directly to the place, we would hop out, we could get a cab, like we could scooch around we could take the subway. Like we would be out and about, and there's culture. We'd be seeing Broadway shows on the weekends. Like it would be what? Well, I mean, that's fancy, but listen, a TKS line, my kids don't
Even
care
those
where we
things
sit.
Are, even in the best of times, I found those things always like very taxing. Like the city,
Well,
I don't know.
everything is taxing.
Yeah. Just like taking the subway, trains, it's a lot. It's a lot. One time the subway was so crowded that my nose ring got stuck in a lady's hair.
Whoa.
And I had to get a stranger
That's
to
just foul.
That's
to
disgusting.
unwind her hair from my nose ring. Yeah. So
That's literally disgusting.
also another time. Another time on the subway, this is my all-time favorite subway story. The subway just stopped so short, a crowded subway, and this lady, like, she went down, like she wasn't holding a pole. No. And she just snatched at every single person, like trying to save herself before she hit the floor.
Was going down.
Yeah, the disgusting subway. And then this businessman just looks at her down on the floor. Then he looks at his pants. He picks off a press-on nail off his pants and holds it to her on the floor and says, "Is this yours?"
No. No. Oh my God, that's like a scene from a movie. That's like an Amy Schumer bit. No.
That's comedy you can't write.
That's really fucking
that's
funny.
New York for you. I'm like,
That's just life.
hopefully he's going to offer to help her up, but he wants to make sure he returns her Lee press-on nail.
Oh, God. I just like, it's interesting though. Here's the thing. Like, yeah, I've been here for work a ton.
Yeah.
I was here once. The longest I was ever here was like 2 weeks when I was doing those Broadway workshops back in the mid-aughts. and that was hard. That was February, and like it was a schlep, and I felt like I really got to see what the Broadway life was like. And I said, take me back to Television City. But I don't know. I guess in this moment in time, because of just so many things, right?
Yeah.
We're here. We are here. And I have to say, I talked to Bird last night and was just like, Birdie's like killing it here. And part of me thinks it's because Birdie's head has always been hot and it's really cold here. I'm serious.
Birdie told me that one time, that their head is always hot.
Birdie's head is always hot. No, since birth.
Because
Birdie has the hottest head of anyone I've ever met.
For Christmas one time, I gave Birdie like a sleeping mask that had little gel things inside it that you could put in the freezer. And Birdie was like, this will be great because my head is always hot.
Always hot. And I feel like Birdie being hotted, this is when Birdie was like a toddler baby, would say, I'm hotted. I'm too hotted. I'm just so hotted. My feet so hotted. My head is hotted. And would get really agitated by being so hotted.
Yeah.
Birdie can't handle being overhotted. So this place is definitely cooling them down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also then allowing them to thrive.
Yeah.
And, Caissie, I have to tell you this because this has to do with you too. So, and like academically, I mean, we know Birds is a goddamn genius, right?
Smart.
Obviously. A very, very, very intelligent person.
Yeah.
But I will say that sometimes school has been challenging because for lots of reasons, in the last several years. But they're really like doing great at this school they're in. And so they read Pride and Prejudice and had to do a book report thing on it, which involved like the making of a collage. And then they had to write like a page about the collage and their project and their thesis on the whatever they were saying about about Pride and Prejudice. I never read it. I don't know. I don't even think I ever saw the movie.
Wow.
Honestly. The point being that Bird decided after they put together this like incredible collage to write out longhand their paragraph in like calligraphy type script.
Nice.
And then use the wax seal that was a Christmas present from Caissie and sealed like pasted it to the collage and then sealed it shut on the collage. And the teacher was so impressed that he took it to show another teacher immediately and then asked Birdie if he could keep it to show future students.
Wow.
An example.
Good job, Bird.
Guys, I know.
That's always the best.
New York is Bird's town.
We all have. I will say I once did a great book report one time. I remember it. Like I did like that level book report once.
Oh my God.
It was for Cold Sassy Tree.
That is one of
by Olivia Ann Burns.
That's one of my favorite books in the entire world.
No way.
She wrote that book
no fucking way.
I'm not even joking you. My favorite English teacher ever, Ms. Melanie Gallo. God forgive me for like blowing up Ms. Melanie Gallo's spot, but I was in AP English in high school, and there was a year where I think she just made it so that every boy dropped out of it. I don't know how. It wound up being a class of like 9 girls, and she just made it like
she's She's a Shiro.
Yeah.
She
cast some type of spell, and every boy was like, I got to focus on football. I'm running for class president. I can't handle this AP class. So anyway, it was a class of like 9 girls, and she just made it like a very feminist space. And one of the most amazing things that she would do is she would just, when she was like walking up and down the aisles when we were working, she would drop a book on your desk. And
you've talked about this before.
So that was
I love her.
Yes, that was the book that she dropped on my desk where she was like, I just finished this. I think you'll like it. And Cold Sassy Tree, one of my favorites.
I did a really good in, I believe, 5th or 6th grade. So
I never did a book report, but I did win a handwriting contest.
You won a handwriting contest?
And my parents should have known then that I was a homosexual, but they didn't.
When did they find out?
I'm late in life, like 25.
Wait, but you're like only 30. Are you not even 30?
No, I'm not even 30.
When is your 30th birthday? Hope everybody gets the fucking vax by then. What are we going to do?
It's this year.
2020.
Yeah, 2021.
Wait, you guys,
it's 2021.
You guys, I just time traveled. Did you hear that?
I told my parents really late. But anyways, I no good book report, great handwriter. Now I can't do it. I gave up that.
You gave up handwriting?
I gave up being a great handwriter.
That passion.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. My dad had really beautiful handwriting, and he was a straight cis man. So it's a lost art. It's a lost art.
Well, I guess let's go through what we're all doing our best at this week. Caissie, how was your week? Was it good? I mean, we kind of talked. Matt got his vaccine. That's exciting.
Matt got his vaccine. That's exciting. Here's what happened in my week. This is like the, Shantira would always talk about like a main character on Twitter. This has been the main character of my week, is that, I'm not some like Susie homemaker, like trying to do tasks around the house. I never have been. That my husband has always taken care of that stuff. But now like the shoes on the other foot a little bit. He's out working and I'm working from home when I'm working, and I'm not working right now. My last project ended sooner than I thought.
Your job ended. Thank God.
Kind of pooped out.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, might come back, but we'll see. We'll see.
But we also don't care. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I do care in that I love to get paid. If that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. But so anyway, so I'm trying to like help out around the house, and my husband has shirts that he has to wear for work, certain shirts, and and I hate ironing. So I bought this like Japanese item that is like a press. It's
like a shirt press?
It's not a press exactly. I believe it's called like a shirt ironing dummy. And so what it's like is, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen it. It's like, those like wind dancers that they have outside of car dealerships? Like,
yes,
the wavy guys, blow up guys, which I'm terrified of because they're giant and I don't like anything that's giant and inflatable.
Of course, they're Birdie's favorite guys.
Of course. So this is
their entire life.
This is like a small version of that. It's like a torso that blows up with warm air, but it's the size of a human, headless, handsome man.
This is terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't like this at all.
And so you put a shirt on it and button it all up, and then you turn it on, and it has like a 10-minute timer, and it blows up and with hot air, and it dries the shirt unwrinkly, which is so nice. So I was like,
okay, but now wait, I'm back on board. I'm back on board.
Yeah. So he'd like become a member of our family. We've had him for 6 months. We call him Shirt Guy. You get him out when you have a bunch of...
I follow you on Instagram and I haven't seen this.
I know, me too. What are you talking about?
I mean,
and I haven't seen Shirt Guy on Matt's. I haven't seen Shirt Guy.
Maybe you're not getting it into your algorithm, I guess. I don't know.
Well, for sure that my algorithm sucks.
Yeah. Who knows? But anyway, so this week Shirt Guy died.
Oh,
and I was like, oh God. Yeah. And I was just like, shoot, let's like unscrew, and maybe like a wire came loose or whatever. So like, let's unscrew the blower part of the body. And it was like melted. Like there was a fire inside of Shirt Guy. And so I was very like,
oh my God, that's very intense.
It was so intense. And I was like, oh, fuck. Do I just buy another Shirt Guy? I don't want to spend another $80. I know that seems like a bargain, but like, if it burns out after 6 months, I don't know. I'm like I
don't like things like that.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I think that's not a great.
So anyway, we've
not
kind
a great value as far as I'm concerned.
And like, do you ever mourn things? Like I kind of was in mourning for Shirt Guy. I was like, obviously felt sorry for myself because I don't want to iron, but also like I felt like someone that I kind of knew. Like I felt like my buddy passed away, and and I think that really speaks to the pandemic. So anyway, I rigged up Shirt Guy with a blow dryer and it kind of worked okay. But I'm definitely going to burn my house down. And also like,
wait.
What?
Wait, I think I have something for you.
What?
So do you remember years ago that I worked for LG? I did like those commercials for LG.
Oh yeah.
So they, part of like the deal, Ray is looking at me like I've lost my fucking mind. Look at you. I wish this was like not a podcast so you could just see the look of just like kind of disgust that he's looking at me with
like,
right
I'm
now.
about to get an assignment to dig out some bullshit.
Yeah, he is. That's exactly what he was thinking. He's like, motherfucker, I'm going to have to find this thing. God damn it.
But I know where it is.
You do know where it is. I know where it is. Okay. So anyway, they like gave me as a part of my like deal with them.
Yeah.
They gave me some LG appliances.
Yeah.
For my home. And they gave me this one thing that I could never fit in our laundry room in LA. And so I just had it in its box still in our garage. And I was like, someday I'll figure out how, like, where to put this.
If you had joined Buy Nothing, you could have given it away.
I know. Well, because I also was like sort of in my head planning that at some point I was going to like redo the laundry room and have like a bigger setup. You guys, let me tell you something about that I've learned about myself. Do you know what is most important to me in a house? Because I've learned this because now we're like, we have this house. I mean, knock wood, like Girls 5 Eva gets picked up again, right? So I'll have to be here for work probably in the fall, like early fall. Maybe
look at
summer.
Ray's face now.
That's my hope. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I am going to say, when Ray, like vaccine and springtime, Ray is going to thrive.
Yes. It'll be a whole different sitch.
It's a whole new thing. And I maintain the stories are still more interesting. So it's good for content. And as like, someone who's a personality who wants to work as an actor and a writer and a performer, I don't think that my forcing you to make this pivot is the worst thing for your career.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. I could see you putting up, a one-man show at Joe's Pub at some point in the future.
Sure. I don't know what that is, but sure.
You will know what that is when everything comes back.
You will. If you want to be gay in New York City, you better start learning what Joe's Pub is.
Okay. So anyway, they gave me, the LG thing was like, they were so nice. And they like were also like, you can gift one to someone. So I gave one to my parents too.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that they,
Yeah.
And my mom loves it and uses it. She's like, it's the greatest thing ever.
Nice.
It's called, this is not an ad, guys. I did the ad years ago. They
already
paid me years ago. I'm not getting any more money from this. I'm just helping my friend out because it's in a box in my storage unit in Los Angeles now. And I feel like we can get it over to Caissie, the LG styler. So it's like a closet. It looks like a little closet.
Okay.
You guys could probably find room for it. And you put garments in it. It's not cheap. It is not cheap. Wow. I'm a nice friend.
You are a nice friend.
I know, but I am. But also, this is not Shirt Guy. You know what I mean? This is like a level up.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Like a mage level up.
Part of Shirt Guy's appeal for me was the cost.
How Sierra of you.
Level up. Level up.
Yeah.
Okay. So you like, it's a laundry companion. Oh, asthma and allergy friendly certified sanitizer. Oh my God. This is perfect for you. He can put his shirts in it as soon as he gets home from work, and it sanitizes them.
There you
so
go.
like it's like a little closet thing, and you hang it up. You hang your clothes up in it and close the door and press a button, and then it like refreshes your clothes, gets rid of wrinkles, gentle, fast drying.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it like does all of those things. It is the size. It is the height of a mini fridge. You know, like it's like the height of like it's the height of a regular size fridge.
Yeah,
but it's like the width of a mini fridge.
Okay,
so it's like a tall, skinny thing.
All right.
And I just couldn't fit it in my house.
Right.
But it's still in its box, and we have it in our storage unit because I was just gonna like wherever I built my laundry room next, I was gonna put it. But
yeah,
you know what, Caissie? I think you guys should have it.
That's so nice of you. Yeah, and then like I can just let Shirt Guy retire and and live out his.
You could bury him. I think you could give him a proper burial.
I mean,
he's
already
go
half
around.
cremated himself.
You could go gather other shirt guys from all those gas stations and like really have a ceremony.
It's true.
I think you should.
Yeah.
A memorial.
I think you should return him from whence he came, the earth.
I don't know if he came from the
No,
earth.
he did not. Well, wait for one of those
synthetic...
like electronic junk turn-in days.
Yes.
And then you can just go. You can give him a proper.
I'll send you guys
off.
a video of Shirt Guy so you can know him. You can memorialize him with me and mourn him with me.
And we'll find that. I'll find that thing and we'll figure out how to get it to your house. And then Matt will be like, I have to figure out where to put this fucking thing now. Okay. Ray, what are you doing your best at this week?
I think I'm doing my best at like just trying to experience. You know what I mean? I think that like when I moved here, I said I'm just going to surrender to the situation.
To the pivot.
Yeah, surrender to the thing and just go with God. And so I've been trying to like go out. Like there are times where you could just sit in bed all day and wallow and cry, but I force myself.
Let's just be clear because of COVID, Ray. You're not like saying you're going out and hitting bars.
No, I
You
can't.
mean
like walking
you
the
mean
city,
like just
like
double mask,
going outside of your building.
Yeah, just going. I'm leaving my bed. I'm like, yeah. Just to clarify, I mean, I'm leaving my bed, walking the streets aimlessly, like Nicole Kidman in that show, The Undoing, in different coats, just walking aimlessly, and that's what I mean. Like I'm doing my best at like actually trying to see stuff,
Yeah.
People are like, you should go to this store or walk by, and oftentimes everything's closed, but you can still walk around and get a feel for things.
That's true.
You
can also make an appointment to go to museums sometimes.
Yes.
Here. You should do that.
I could.
But yeah, like the Whitney, I think, has times, they stagger it. Everybody's masking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Are you a real
if you feel
museum
safe.
bitch, Ray?
I was at one point. I actually was an art history minor in college, and I worked at a museum one summer.
What museum?
The Skirball.
I love the Skirball.
Oh.
Yeah, but I didn't make it through the internship,
That's not surprising to me.
Because
you were like upset that the exhibits didn't come to life at night.
Yeah, and also driving from LAX up to the Skirball, and
it's a bad drive. It's the 405,
It's a
guys.
haul,
No one likes it.
It's a haul,
Yeah.
and so I quit.
No one likes it.
And I was spending all the money I was making on tuna sandwiches from the cafe. You know what I mean? So
were they good tuna sandwiches?
They were phenomenal.
I think it's like patina catering.
Yeah.
At the Skirball.
So it was costing me money. So I quit.
I get it. I worked this is not at all comparable, but when I was in college, I worked exactly 2 shifts at Bloomingdale's in the like makeup department.
In Santa Monica?
No, the one at Century City, the old Century City Bloomingdale's. And then I left for a break on the second day, and I never went back, and I never got paid. And I pieced the fuck out.
Everybody has a story like that. I had a job at CNN and I didn't make it for like a week.
Oh, wow.
I only made it 3 days. And then I was like, I will not be returning on Thursday.
I love that your job was CNN and ours was Bloomingdale's and the Skirball Museum. Also, in hindsight, I'm going to tell you something that my mom told me. Those who love to shop should never work retail because you would have spent more money than you ever made.
That's true.
Interesting.
I was great at California Pizza Kitchen was my best job.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Truly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I was the best at restaurants.
As a teenager, my husband also, you don't have friendlies. You guys didn't have friendlies out in Arizona.
No.
It's a very East Coast thing, and I think they're dwindling now. But my husband went into the freezer. It's an ice cream restaurant. He went into the freezer and changed out of his friendlies uniform into his street clothes, and then just left his uniform and walked out of friendlies.
Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. Emily Beebe worked at a frozen yogurt place when we were in high school that was like...
So did I.
Well, the one that she worked at was like off-brand and like not cool.
Oh.
And one time once she was working there, and these guys showed up and they were like, "Hey, we're here to fix the machine." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Okay." And they took it and they're like, "Oh, we can't fix it. We have to take it." And they took it. And then the owner came in and was like, "Where's the machine?" And she's like, "These guys came to fix it. But then they said they couldn't do it. So they took it." And he was like, "They stole it. That was not, there was no one coming to fix the machine." And so then Emily was like horrified and
She's like,
thought that
Cindy
she had
Lou
allowed
Who.
the store to be robbed. But then it turned out that the guy was like, they were being repossessed because the guy was like behind on payments because it was like a very uncool yogurt shop.
They weren't.
Oh, wow.
It was an underdog yogurt shop, and Emily Beebe, Cindy Lou Who'd herself, totally bought the Grinch, was just coming to fix the tree.
Oh my God, she's gonna listen to this.
I
and
was
be
going to
so
ask
annoyed.
Ray, how did it go? I introduced Ray to some New York friends this week. Did you have any nice chit chats?
So I would have said that was what I was doing my best at, but it hasn't. I have like a scheduled virtual happy hour thing, which like if I were in LA, like deepest eye roll ever. Like in LA, I'm like popular. I would never sign up for a virtual happy hour. I don't need that. But here, I'm trying to like embrace the situation and like make friends, and like there's a possibility I could be here longer than I anticipated.
How long did you anticipate?
Well, we said 8 weeks.
He's still here. It hasn't been 8 weeks yet.
Yeah, so we haven't crossed that threshold.
So,
Just feels like 8
listen,
weeks.
No, it doesn't. I know though in my head that it could be longer, like realistically.
but also we can talk about whatever you need. You know what I mean?
No. I'm not complaining, but I am trying to make friends because I'm like, oh, I actually could see myself being here longer.
Yeah.
And if that's the case and I want to live a life, then I need to make friends. And actually, Caissie, that was so nice of you because you were texting me, checking in, and you were like, how is it? And I was like, actually, it's not bad. I just wish I had like one friend.
Yeah.
Like,
Aw.
because it's, I
Me
don't want to
too.
cry. It's just like, it's hard. Like you and I are both, I think, similar in the sense that like, we're like a collector of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
We both are. In LA, like you have a very strong friend group and I have a very strong friend group. And not that I was seeing a ton of people in LA, but I lived with 2 of my best friends
Right. Yeah.
and I had a pod of 6. So it's like to go from talking to your friends every day to literally only communicating with your boss about work stuff. It's really hard.
I mean, I am the best.
Yeah, but I just
To
mean
be
like,
fair.
Yeah. No, but I just mean like I'm not going to call you.
A lot of people listening to this show, Ray, are actually like they would love to be able to talk to me.
No, but I mean
You know
like
what I mean?
in the sense that like
I'm just putting it in perspective.
I do
I'm just
love
saying.
to talk to you, but like there's things that I don't want to like.
No, of
there's-
course, Ray. I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing.
So like Caissie was like, "What do you need?" And I said, "It would be helpful to have like one friend." And then she was like, "You have a lot of girlfriends in LA, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I'll introduce you to someone." And I was like, "Pause," because my cup runneth over with straight white female friends.
Yeah.
I don't need any more.
Yes.
I can't talk about their boyfriends
Right,
or
right.
golfing or the bullshit that girls talk about on
Right.
dating apps. So I was like, actually, if you know any like homosexuals,
What about Lewis?
Yeah. Louis
What?
Peitzman is a friend of ours. He was a writer for BuzzFeed. He's a theater writer. But anyway, he's a friend. He used to come to Thanksgiving dinner at my house in Connecticut, but he lives in New York City. So
nice.
he'd be a good person for you to meet. But I introduced Ray to like all the people his age that worked at Watch What Happens Live at one time or
Correct.
another via
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Instagram.
via Instagram.
So
Yeah, and so I did set up a bunch of stuff. Like in old me, LA me would have been like, yeah, no, like I'm good. Like I have my crew. I know who I'm going to Jones on 3rd with to get a Chinese chicken salad. Like I don't need a new person.
yeah.
But me in New York is trying to embrace the change.
Okay, I can't wait to hear
this week.
They're all the nicest people,
Yeah.
nicest people.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think we're all sort of like figuring out new ways to have friends. You know, even if you were here, like you had your 6 people, but like if you wanted to change it up and meet more gay guys, you'd be doing it in a totally new way where you're like, am I really like logging onto my computer to talk to like a new friend? That seems so weird, but it's true. It
seems so weird.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I've met people since the pandemic, like through the podcast or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, let's Zoom, like let's set up a Zoom," and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so weird," but okay.
And actually, I'm really appreciative because that was my biggest thing prior. That was like my goal for 2020 before everything happened, was actually to like make a stronger community of like gay people.
Yeah.
Because again, I only hang out with straight people that I've been friends with forever and I love them, but like a little bit, I'm like, I actually don't have someone to talk to about like what I'm going through, you know, something that you want to understand. And it's like this weird thing too, where it's like, it is hard to make, in my opinion, it's hard to make gay friends because gay men always think you're hitting on them. And it's like, no, dude, like I actually don't want to sleep with you. I just want to like kiki and like talk about stuff, you know?
Right. That makes sense.
And so this could be different and it could be a really exciting change, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. But you're trying. It's a possibility.
Trying. Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. And like you said, and it's interesting too being here because I have like had a few interactions. Like I got my hair done, obviously like masked and whatever. I had to get a haircut. And he was like, you know, I can just feel it. Like, this is your change. Like, this is what you need. Like, you're going to thrive. Like,
but I also, you know, am a witch.
Yeah.
And I truly feel, I really do feel like you are going to thrive. Mark and I were talking about it. Not that we sit around and talk about you, Ray, but sometimes we do. And we were talking about it and we were like, had both. Probably more me witchy vibes, but Mark was definitely in agreement.
Yeah.
That like we saw sunshine and spring and Ray like in New York City, like thriving.
Yeah, I could definitely do it. I just have to you have to
make it through the snow.
You have to like make the friend. You know what I mean?
You're gonna make the friend.
Yeah.
I feel like
I can feel it. It's just
I can feel it too.
But like you said, you do hit your walls where you're just like walking on the High Line crying every night. You're just like, what did I do?
Yeah. Well,
and then you just get up the next day and you're like, well, I did it and we're doing it.
I mean, the wall I hit this past week was so intense because it was coupled with my toenail being ripped off by a doctor who pressed play on Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the song from White Chicks?
I think it's 1,000 Miles.
1,000 Miles.
Yeah.
Press play on that right before he started ripping my toenail off.
Wait, but on purpose?
My toe had already been numb. Yes, because he, like the nurses told him who I was. And then he like couldn't help himself because he's just like a funny guy. So I was like, and then he was like, they didn't want me to do this, but I can't help it. I'm just a funny guy. And I was like, you should listen to your nurses. I
don't like doctor bits.
They know. That's like I have a friend. I won't reveal who. I have lots of friends who've been on doctor shows. So this is not anyone's. They can tell this story at some point if they want to. But I have a doctor friend who went in for like a colonoscopy. And, you know, that's like a very vulnerable position to be in, literally and figuratively.
Yes.
And had to get a colonoscopy for like some health reasons. And so it was like doubly sort of scary. And as the anesthesiologist was putting them under, they were like, oh my God, you're the doctor from... And that was the last thing my friend remembers.
Oh God.
And then came to. Like as you're like prone on your side.
Yeah, just ready.
Fetal, about to get a thing up your butt, a camera up your butt.
Intimate. Yeah.
And this person's like, I mean, it's terrible. Anyway, so the toenail being ripped off to 1,000 miles in the scheme of things, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like not that terrible, also kind of funny, and also only me.
Yeah.
Like only me.
Sure.
That this would happen to, right?
Sure.
Because I'm so approachable, guys, because I'm so normal. People are just like, she'll think it's funny. And because I am just who I am, I'm like, that is funny. Swallow it, push it down until it boils up and boils over in rage.
I've been trying to calculate how much of what percentage of our lives do women spend fake laughing at things that aren't really funny?
Oh my God. I mean,
30,
50?
30%.
I was going to say, I'm at 50 already, I think, for my life. 50%.
All right.
Although I can be real salty, obviously in my old age, I got real salty. I think that my people pleasing went out the window for sure. Oh, I don't know. I think I've gone through phases. I think I've probably been salty at parts and then also not salty. It just depends. Like sometimes I just feel so bad for people. Like I'm
you're a situational pleaser.
I'm a situational pleaser, correct. But also I'm a story maker in mine own mind.
Yeah.
And so like I will take someone who I have no basis for anything and like I will build an entire story for their life and what they've gone through and their struggles and their whole thing. And then before you know it, I'm like literally like tear down my cheek in the grocery store. And the guy like shoves me out of the way to get something. I'm like, please take that last loaf of bread, sir. I'm like, can I get you in? Can I help you? Like I get very emotionally attached to strangers.
Yeah.
Like
I get it.
in a way that's really maybe not beneficial sometimes to me and my mental well-being.
I mean,
but anyway,
sometimes you let almost strangers move in with you.
Well, that's 100% has happened multiple times.
Multiple times. So
and
you're the most approachable.
Yeah, it'll happen again. Like, I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? Like, I, randomly, like, a Postmate came to my house months and months and months ago. Like, last year, I was post-pandemic, but, like, last year. And, like, I ended up talking to this Postmate delivery person and then just was like, what's your Venmo? And I just Venmo'd them, like, a serious amount of money. Because I was just like, well, I don't know. I just fucking liked the person and thought... And I was just like, this fucking is a grind, man. It's a fucking grind. And like, I don't know, whatever. Don't hit me up on Venmo, you guys. I'm serious. Peeps me out.
Sad.
Yeah.
It's not just that it's sad. It's like I give so much. I do try to give away a lot. And if I start doing it in that way, then it's a real disaster for me waiting to happen. So I can't do it that way.
But it is so nice that you did that for one.
Yes.
My son has been, I won't say what company he's been doing deliveries for, but on the East Coast, he's been doing deliveries because his restaurant that he worked at closed. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, how's work going? And he says like, here's what I can say about it. I haven't slipped and fallen on ice yet.
Oh my
so
God.
that's like, as long as that doesn't happen, I feel like it's a positive. And so I talked to him the other day and I was like, how's it going? And he's like, well, it finally happened. Like,
oh man,
he got called for a delivery. It was ice cream. And the person had ordered ice cream and it was a really steep driveway that hadn't been shoveled. And the person was standing in their door watching. And he's like, and I totally wiped out and like flung the bag across the yard and it really hurt. And I was just about to like make a self-deprecating joke about how I just wiped out in front of the person and it was embarrassing. And the guy opened the door and he was like, if you can hurry up, there's someone trying to pull into my driveway.
No. People are such dicks.
Yeah, I asked what he got tipped and he was like, I couldn't even look because I'm sure it wasn't good. But anyway,
but that is so wild.
That's just
like,
to say,
people are so
karmically, it was very nice of you your way for that one delivery person.
I don't know. I try to do stuff like that as much as I can. Mark had a real night the other night, like a tough emotional evening. And was like, I need to take a walk. And I was like, I get it. Go take a walk. And then when he came back, I was like, what'd you do? And he's like, I don't know. I ended up like talking to this guy. It's like homeless guy for like 30 minutes. And then I just like went to an ATM and got a bunch of money and gave it to him. I was like, oh my God. But like, that's like the kind of thing. They had a really intense conversation, I guess. I think it's nice. See, you get that here.
New York is,
In New York, I mean.
Yeah. My same son that wiped out on the ice that has been doing deliveries to like support himself.
Sorry.
That was one thing. Like even when he was a baby, he was always just one of those people that was engaging with everybody on the streets of New York, in the subway. And it's really interesting. At a really early age, I noticed that he would always, when there was an unhoused person on the subway or whatever that would like approach us, he would always ask, hey, what's your name? And it would just like change the whole, like, it would just
dynamic.
Change the whole person's like countenance. And I was like, what makes you do that? And he was like, well, I want to know their name. Like everybody wants someone to know their name. Like that's, you know, like that's the most important thing. That's like one of the things that keeps us alive is like knowing that somebody knows our name and cares what our name is. And I think he would totally get Mark going out and talking to someone and emptying his bank account.
I mean, I feel like it's interesting. I inherited from Barbara Phillips. I talk to everyone.
Yeah.
Everywhere. All the time. And it is a thing that like I remember as a kid, like, why do you have to know the grocery lady checkout person's name, Mom? Like, why do you have to talk to them about their kids? The busser at their favorite restaurant, at like my parents' favorite restaurant when she passed away. Like my mom, like they were like, like my mom like knew her. Like they, like my mom, like they are. And I feel like it was a thing that as a kid, I was so like always rolling my eyes at, but it just really permeated my being. And it is who I am as an adult. I'm interested in talking to everybody. And like, I don't understand when people like don't look people in the eye. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a store, if you're at a gas station, if you're in a bank, a fucking movie theater, like how do you not? You guys are never going to movie theaters again, by the way. That's just an FYI. That's an aside.
Well, no. Did you hear what they're doing? Did you hear what they're doing here?
No.
You can rent out an entire theater
for like $100 and like
to watch a movie.
I have deja vu. Have we already talked about this?
I think we've talked about the ability to rent a movie theater. One of the chains started doing it a few months back.
Have we?
I haven't.
Well, no, this is crazy deja vu right now. Okay, I don't know what's happening. All right. There's a glitch in the matrix. Okay, wait. So so my toenail got ripped off. Was Not intense. Great. Hopefully it's gonna take care of some shit. You know what I mean? Like it'll grow back better. I've been struggling with this toenail for years now.
Yeah.
And she had to go. She just had to get the fuck. She had to go.
Yeah.
She was evicted.
Yeah.
You surrendered.
I surrendered. And it was real gross. And Caissie, I know you hate feet, but it was shockingly disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I find feet shockingly disgusting with all their toenails on. So I can't even tell you how I'm feeling right now.
But it really like, honestly, now it like is fine. I don't know. I was like scared of it, but now I'm like,
yeah, it's just your life.
I don't know. It's fine. It's just this is my toenail. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And so many people have DM'd me, and they're like, oh my God, I had my toenail removed. Oh my God, my toenail was removed 2 years ago. So lots of people, it's very common, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Then I just like a yeast infection or something.
All right.
I don't know what's wrong with my vagina, but I'm going to the gyno.
Okay.
Today.
All right.
And I'm going to find out. And everyone's like, it's from the pole. It's not from the pole.
Clothed.
You guys, you don't wipe your vagina on
Who
the pole.
said it's from the pole?
So many people.
Wait, how many people know you have a yeast infection?
Well, I talked about it on
now
like
100,000, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I like posted on my Instagram stories that I was using Monistat.
Oh, see, I missed that one. There you go.
Algorithm. Keeping it away from you.
Ow.
No, but like I thought I was a yeast infection, but like I don't fucking know. And then I been doing too much online research, and now I'm convinced that like maybe it's menopausal. I don't even fucking know. And then I'm like, if it is menopausal, oh boy, what a journey.
Yeah.
Menopause at 41.
I mean,
I don't know.
Then I'm definitely moving back to LA.
No, I'd want to be. You're moving back to LA?
Yes,
if you're going through menopause.
I'm not going through menopause.
I don't think you are.
I don't know, but it could be anything, including, and this is my admission. about things I put inside me. I am vigilant about sterilizing my Diva cups. Like so if you are a Diva, if you're a listener who doesn't use like tradish tampons or like period underwear or pads or whatever, if you're a cup user, then you know, I hope, that like before you use your cup every month and when your period is done for the week or 4 days or whatever, however long you bleed, I don't know. I'm like 5 days. You sterilize it in boiling water like you would like a baby's pacifier, or also it's like it's exactly the same thing, just different orifices. So you sterilize it. So like you boil water and you put it in. Okay. This period, I was like, it's been in the bath. I'm sure it's fine. I didn't have time. I just like ran it under hot soapy water. Yeah. And you guys, I'm worried I got like a bacterial infection from it or something. And because I feel like it's my fault and I didn't do the proper thing. Or the soap I used, I didn't like get totally off. And then I had like a reaction to the soap.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, I feel dumb.
Well, you shouldn't feel dumb.
Well,
and also, I hate it.
It's like the worst thing to have being itchy because you can't scratch it, really. You know?
No, I'm not like a toddler.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's like you're not going to like reach inside yourself to scratch, you know?
Also, these nails?
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely not.
So, like, if you have an itchy elbow, no big deal to scratch it. But itchy vagina, you just have to sit there and live with it.
Can't do it.
Live with it.
I know.
Ugh.
Anyway, and then I became like convinced too that I have that like candida thing,
which is yeast,
and that's why I have yeast.
Yeah,
I know. I don't know what it is. So it's so much better now, but I'm gonna go to the gyno today anyway and just check it out and see what's happening.
Did you get the anti-candida like juice things?
I don't know what that is, but I did get that
those
oil.
Shots. Yeah, like the oil and the shots that you take for.
I don't know what that is. Well, is it the black cumin seed oil?
New York's not a real black cumin itchy vagina juice place. Like they're like, go to the gyno.
No.
That's the solution.
New York's not a real organic place either.
No. And like even like the juice bars, you go in there and it's like not.
I got in a fight with the lady at the grocery store.
No, you did not.
Yeah, because I was like, where's the organic yogurt that you asked me to get? And she's like, who needs organic yogurt? And I was like, literally everyone should be eating organic yogurt. She's like, no, ma'am. And I was like, okay.
No, ma'am.
I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just get this one. Like, what do you want? Like, it's just insane. Even at Whole Foods, they have things that aren't organic. And I'm like, this isn't right.
Not right.
It's not right. If I'm buying Nilla wafers at a Whole Foods, I'm not at a real Whole Foods. And that's just what I'm going to say.
Listen. Okay. So I don't think that's anything that I'm doing my best at.
Yeah.
I mean.
Although I will say, when you texted me that you were letting the doctor rip your toenail off, you're like, oh, I'm going to let him rip my toenail off. I was really surprised because the old you would have been like, you would have texted me in LA being like, should I let this guy rip my toenail off? No, I don't know him. I've never seen him before. I don't know anyone that's seen this doctor. Let's just do the minimal treatment and see what happens. And you in New York were like, I'm just going to let him rip it off. We're going to just try something different.
You know what, Ray?
So you've been surrendering. That's what I think our theme of being here as two people who really loved LA and really had a home is like, you've surrendered.
I surrendered. That's right. And you know what? I didn't ask anyone. I didn't text Mark. I didn't text anyone. I just was like, I talked to the doctor. I was a little bit like, he's a dude. And the other doctor who just started in the practice was a woman and has the same last name as one of my very close friends from high school. And also just she's a woman, so I trusted her more.
Yeah.
So I looked at her and I was like, what do you think? Like, tell me the real. And she was like, yeah, it's just going to be easier if you do it this way and it'll like be done. And it's like a pain for the next 2 days, but then it'll be so much better. And I was like, all right, let's just do it. I just fucking went for it. when he did hit play on 1,000 Miles, I did question my judgment for a second.
But you just went through with it. I will say there's something in the water in New York that like for as tough as New York is, I do find people there to be much more decisive and just like everybody's constantly moving forward on things and nobody's really like seeing how things are going to go. You know what I mean? So I think that it must be something in the water because that just made you like, I'm just going to move forward with this. Like there's no point in waffling on this. Like, let's just get it done.
Well, there's definitely something in the water here because it tastes like arsenic. I had a friend who was like...
Did I tell you what happened on set on Girls 5 Eva?
You didn't tell me.
The props guy, like only 8 episodes. We didn't get to the point where I could like slip him a 20 and he'd put real wine in my cup. Like we got on like Cougar Town. That was our vibe. But so more, it was just normally like it was just like water that was like he put some drops of color in it or whatever. And I had a scene where I was like drinking white wine. I was like, oh, this is disgusting. Like, what is this? This is so gross. It tastes disgusting. I think it's like the drops you're putting in it, like da 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 da. And he's like, I was like, maybe it's like, is the glass not cleaned? Like, I know you clean the glasses, but like it smells moldy. It's like bad. And he's like, give me 1 second. And he left set and he came back, looked exactly the same, handed it to me. He's like, try that. I tried it and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is fine. Did you get a new glass? And he's like, no, I asked the PAs for your Essentia water that you like. And I put that in instead of the like water from the tap
water
that we had, the filtered tap water that we had been using. He's like, you are literally one of 2 people I've ever worked with that could taste the difference in the water. I was like, yes, I'm from LA. And it is weird though, because it is one of the things that people who grew up here or from here, whatever, are very proud of the water here.
Yeah, and like
it's the greatest water in the world.
And New York has the best
import
bagels,
it to people.
and people
right,
say
right,
that
right.
it's
and they're like,
because
it's
of
all
the
the water,
water.
the pizza.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, listen. Should we get to our interview? We didn't go over what anyone. Oh wait, I didn't say what I was doing my best at. I don't know. That's it. Just
what
like,
were you
I'm
doing
just
your
like,
best at? I
think we did. I think that was it. I think we did it.
Just embracing.
Just surrendering.
Embracing it all and being open. I mean, I don't know. I've had a hard week. I'm not going to lie. It's been a hard week. But I feel like, I don't know. I do feel grounded in that idea of like, let's just fucking go with it. You know, let's like try to just keep going with the flow. I had a real witchy moment the other day because Mark had said this, that he was like, that after that night, the next morning, woke up and we were talking and he was like, you know, last night it was like I was having such a hard time sleeping and I just like kept saying over and over in my head, we're still here. Like, we're just still here. You know, like we're all still here. We're just all still here.
Yeah.
And I was like shuffling these gratitude cards that I have, which are kind of cheesy, but I also do sort of like them. And I do pull them out from time to time. And I'm like, ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I was just like absentmindedly shuffling them while he was talking to me. And I literally pulled one from the middle that said, we're still here. Oh. And Mark was like, what are you doing? Why? How did you do that magic trick? Why did you do that to me? That's weird. Stop doing magic tricks. And I was like, that wasn't a magic trick. It's genuinely my gratitude card. Let's pull gratitude cards today.
All right.
And then we'll talk to Josh Gondelman.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick a gratitude card first or shall I?
I think you should go first. They're yours.
Okay. Let's see. Gratitude card. Ooh. A few times we really felt understood. Okay.
All right.
Raymond, you pick yours. Okay.
It says, there are people who have loved us, even though we didn't totally deserve their affection or devotion.
Huh. I feel like that's shady.
An interesting thing.
Interesting.
It is shady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My first thought was, who hath loved me? I have never felt that.
Oh.
Not like, obviously for my family and friends.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Caissie, are you sending your vibe?
Yep.
Okay. Everyone messes up their life quite a bit. What are these? Why is this? I mean, I don't know. I like them.
That's a good one for me because you know that I hate making mistakes.
Yeah.
And the best thing anyone can ever do for me when I make a mistake is to say, like, it's okay. We'll fix this mistake. You know? So that's a good one for me.
You know, Birdie had a real situation this past weekend that was like fucking was terrible. And I can't really fully talk about it because I didn't get their permission. And also, maybe this is just like more about me because I feel like I was a good parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Busy. Like, let's. Where are we centering this? Is it about the experience or is it about the fact that I think I thrived in the moment of crisis and really killed it? And you know what the truth is? I do feel like I killed it. But here's what I want to say. My number one best thing that I said during said situation with my kid. Yeah, everybody does things that they know they're not supposed to do. That's being human. The trick to being a good person, a good human, is what you do right after that. Like, and how you let it affect you or how you move on or how you take steps to rectify what's been done, you know? And like, I do feel like that's the thing. Yeah. Everybody is going to make mistakes and the human instinct is to like, at one point or another, you're going to do something that you know you shouldn't be doing or shouldn't have done. Like, you know, I shouldn't open that closet, but you're going to, you know, I don't know why I said that. Like Belle, I was thinking Beauty and the Beast for some reason. Remember Beauty and the Beast, guys? She's not supposed to go to the West Wing, but that's where the library is. Anyway. All right. It's all in the aftermath is all my point is. That's my great parenting advice to say to your children. Being a human, every human is going to make a choice at some point that they know better. But what we really need to make sure that we do is in the immediate aftermath, do the right thing or work toward it. Unless it's
good advice,
you know, making an explosive device for a gender reveal party, in which case you guys
didn't even get to that.
Let's talk about it after.
Well, we can talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Josh. And then
Josh
we'll talk
Gondelman,
about it after.
A delightful human. We enjoyed our talk very much.
Josh is a comedian. He's a writer for Jesus and Marrow. He has the Make My Day podcast. He has a really fun book out, and he took time out of his busy schedule of staying home constantly to talk to us.
And he really loves his wife. It's cute.
Yeah, it's a delight.
Anyway, listen to our discussion with Josh. Listen, guys, you've heard us talk about it before. I'm going to say it again. We're obsessed with these mattresses. It's hard to know how much sleep affects you until you fix it. Helix Sleep has made our lives way easier. You take the quiz. You get matched with the perfect mattress for you. Everyone's unique, and Helix knows that. They have different mattress models to choose from. And even, this is my favorite one, mattresses that cool you down if you're a hot sleeper. And a Helix Plus mattress for plus-size folks. Also, Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine. They also offer pillows, bases, bedding, and more. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you don't have to worry about that happening because you will love it. I guarantee it. Just go to helixsleep.com/best. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you with a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattresses and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/best. best. That's an amazing offer. That's helixsleep.com/best for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows.
That's great. Get a new mattress.
KiwiCo, guys, if you don't know, it's a subscription service, and you and your kid get everything you need to create unforgettable moments, and it's shipped right to your door. There are these projects, fun and innovative crates. There's science and art projects. It's kids of all ages. I started getting Birdie Kiwi crates when they were like, I want to say 2.5 or 3 years old. It's been like the thing that I've kept in the closet for a rainy day activity, for a kid that's been spending too much time on a device, for, you know, a time when I'm like, you know what, I've been working too much and I need to like take an hour with my kid and like do something with them, you know? And and then I have at my disposal this little crate that has everything. I really, really love KiwiCo. It does the legwork for you so you can spend more quality time tackling these projects together. There's different crates for kids of all ages. Birdie did like an LED one recently, and actually it was very cute. Birdie let Cricket do it with them. So it was very sweet because it's difficult because my kids are so far apart in age. They're like basically 5 years. It's hard for them to find ways to play together a lot. So that was like an incredible new benefit of KiwiCo that I hadn't even planned on. So there's different crates for kids of all ages. There's something for every kid. Plus, there's no commitment. You can pause or cancel anytime. And I'm going to tell you something you're not going to want to. KiwiCo is redefining learning with hands-on projects that build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills. There is something for every kid or kid at heart at KiwiCo. Get 30% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with code BEST at KiwiCo.com. That's 30% off your first month at KiwiCo.com, promo code BEST. Let me tell you something. My love for Bev is real. Bev is a female-first canned wine brand that was founded to change not only the way a product is consumed, but the way an entire industry and culture have operated for generations. They have 3 varietals, Rosé, Sauv Blanc, and Pinot Gris, as well as a limited edition extra fizzy sparkling white wine for the holidays. Their wines are dry and crisp, and they're a little fizzy, and it's super refreshing and delicious. They have 0 sugar, only 3 carbs, 100 calories per serving. And the cans are cute and tiny, but each can is a glass and a half of wine, or the perfect amount for me for dinner. The 24-pack is equal to 8 bottles of wine. And it's amazing because you're not like trying to recork a bottle of wine and then it like spills on the ledge. And then the next thing you know, the raspberries are like moldy because they were soaked in wine overnight. Avoid all of those issues.
Wine,
guys.
Yeah, it's a big ordeal.
It's an ordeal,
to be honest. If you're just, and you can just pop a little can, and everybody can have like their full, wine cellars or whatever. I have my 24-pack. That's 8 bottles of wine. That's my wine cellar right there.
Right there. Bev ships straight to your door. That's incredible, and the shipping is always free. Guys, we've worked out an exclusive deal with our best friends at Bev for our Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best podcast listeners. Receive 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping on all orders. I suggest trying their best-selling Ladies Night variety pack so you can check out all of their delicious varietals. Go to drinkbev.com/busy or use code BUSY at checkout to claim the deal. That's drinkbev.com/busy. Josh, I want to say that we're so thrilled to have you on. You're such a professional.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
At this.
That's very kind of you.
Specific thing.
I appreciate your saying so. You also are.
Caissie,
we're trying.
Well, Josh, are you in Los Angeles? You're in Los Angeles.
I'm in New York.
I'm in New York.
What?
I moved here.
How do you like it? How do you like this version of it?
It's very strange.
Yeah.
I've spent obviously, I've spent a ton of time in New York over many, many years of my life. But I've never lived here, ever. I really like it so much, but also it's very cold.
It is very cold. I'm from I almost said the Massachusetts. I'm from the Boston area in Massachusetts. So I'm like I grew up used to the cold and believing that I don't deserve better than that.
Caissie, also from the Massachusetts area, lived in New York for many years and Connecticut and worked in New York. You guys, Caissie can really speak to this because you've made a late in life transition to the West Coast. What do you think about the weather situation?
Oh, I like it. I was definitely like ready. I'm don't want to shovel snow years old, and so I was ready to give that up, to give up that life.
Josh, do you ever think you'll do it?
I think I'm certainly open to it. My wife is more interested in it. She hates the winter and is like ready to never experience it again. And so I'm happy to move too at some point.
Do you guys have children?
We don't. We have one small fat pug.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Named
Busy. Bizzy.
I know you have a dog named Busy. I know.
You've done your research. I don't presume.
Well, no, your wife tweeted it a while back.
Yes.
A year ago? Who knows? What's time?
1 year feels like nothing and everything. And this time 2 years ago, I was hunting man for sport, and now I can't get close enough. It's just the most dangerous game.
Oh, you were
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was like a real thing.
No.
Well, it was that movie that the Damon Lindelof.
That sounds right.
Damon Lindelof. Wasn't that the movie that they wouldn't release
The
then
Hunt?
because The Hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, because it was too controversial.
It was very politically charged. People made it into, and then
There's also a movie from many, many years ago, an indie movie that starred the girl that was in the pit in Silence of the Lambs.
Lois Smith's daughter. What's her name? Shoot.
Brooke
Smith. Yeah.
Brooke Smith.
Her mom is like legendary publicist. Lois Smith.
Lois Smith?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. She was Rosie's publicist.
she got her daughter into the pit.
Yeah.
Well, she was in this indie movie back when I was in my early 20s and very into indie movies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And she was in a movie called Series 7.
Yeah.
That was about like a dystopian near future where people were forced to like.
It was like a reality show.
It was a reality
right?
show. Yeah, it was like a dystopian reality show future. But it was actually very ahead of its time.
Yeah, I saw it. Was she pregnant in it?
Yeah,
like, she's like a pregnant woman slaying
hunting
people to win a reality show. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember I saw it back then. I don't remember much, but I remember that it was intense.
That sounds like a distressing mashup of The Hunger Games and Teen Mom.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
I had it on VHS, guys. I had VHS for a long time.
Me too.
Josh, how's it going? How's your podcast?
It's been so fun. I really enjoyed making it.
I would like to come on.
I would love for you to
win.
come on. You would be an ideal guest.
Well, I'm in.
Thank
and
you.
now that I'm not working so much on my other show, the TV show that was exhausting, the Tina Fey.
Are you wrapped on that, or are you still
thing.
going?
We're wrapped for this season.
Cool.
They did sort of because COVID, obvi. We only did 8 episodes. I think they were like, maybe we can make it through 8.
That's incredible.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only thing kind of major that happened that like fucked us up a little bit was that I got strep throat.
Oh no. Were you worried when it happened that you're like, oh no, I got the thing, and then it wasn't?
100 million%. Yes.
Every time. Anytime I have like I sneeze and I'm like, well, this is curtains for me.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, it
no,
worked.
it's too bright.
Well,
I'm blinded. Hold on.
That's fine. Josh, you're getting a real deluxe look at how we never officially start the podcast or the interviews.
Hey,
we just start talking and then
I'm not here to judge when a podcast starts. I'm just here for the conversation.
Josh, I have a question. Do you enjoy doing other people's podcasts? Do you enjoy this space? You've certainly had a great deal of experience and success in it, I would
thank
say.
you. I do. I love it. I mean, this lately, in this past year, so much of my time getting to like hang out and collaborate with friends and like goof off has been doing podcasts. Like it's such a defined space where it's not, at first it was like all my college friends would go like, hey, let's get on a Google Hangout together, and it'd be like 15 people and you couldn't have a conversation. But like when someone says, hey, come do my podcast, I go from my living room where I was watching Seinfeld reruns with my wife, and she now has a work event, and I came into the office, and like this is such a treat to get to have a fun conversation. Yeah, I love it. What about you?
That's exciting. I love, no one likes to talk more than me, Josh. That's like literally like the thing that I've hung all of my hats on, talking. But I do find that some people like get really like, ugh. They talk about it like in that it's an arduous thing that they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's bullshit.
What a low stakes thing to feel burdened by. You know what I mean? Like it's like you could always just not do a podcast if you feel that badly about it.
But also like people think you make like so much money doing podcasts? Yeah.
Which I do not.
Right. No, we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You've heard my podcast. You're like, nobody would pay money for this.
No. We know. No, we just know from our own experiences.
It's also funny because it is very low stakes, but I think everybody's just transferred their ire about like scheduling anything to like the easiest. You know what I mean? Like I like it because I would probably say, oh yeah, let's do a Google Hangout and then never really do it. But because this is official and there's a calendar for it and like you're coming here, then I will get on it because I feel like I have a responsibility, but it is not hard to get on this Zoom. But I kind of sometimes maybe think that people are like, it's the same as like having agreed to go to a cocktail party. But now it's just like, you just have to go in the other room.
Sure. Yeah.
But you know what's interesting? Like I am now, because I don't know, Josh, how much of me you're familiar with. But I really did do so much of the Instagram storying for so long. Yeah. But today, literally I was like, ugh, I wish we were just doing the podcast today. I have like things I want to talk about. And then I looked and I like literally haven't posted an Instagram story in like 8 hours or something like that. Like I'm not interested particularly in going to the stories anymore and like giving it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But doing the podcast just once a week, Caissie, I feel like I wasn't planning on talking about all the women's health birth stuff that we ended up talking about this week, but it was like I had just gotten a pap smear, Josh. So at the forefront of my mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like I want a daily radio show.
We could get a deal on Sirius XM.
The other thing about Instagram, I feel like I haven't looked at anything new in like weeks.
Yeah.
Like there's so little that I'm like, oh, I get to take a picture of this to remember it. It's like my apartment. I take so many pictures that are just my wife holding our dog, like cradling the dog like a baby.
You took a really good, the best picture of Maris and the dog recently.
Thank you. It's very funny because when she holds the dog around the middle and their faces are like roughly parallel, the dog looks, she's a 24-pound pug. She looks person sized because Maris is she's petite. And so when you only see like the dog's head and torso and Maris's head and torso, they look like the same size. You're the biggest pug or the smallest lady.
The other day you took one where Maris was holding like you said, busy around the middle, and she was just like, the dog was ramrod straight and just looking like she had like the best
up?
dog posture, like looking up at the ceiling, and it was a work of art, I have to say.
She's so funny.
Wait, Josh, I need to talk to you about this because this is very important to us here
Please.
at Busy Phillips is doing her best. But I know you are from the Massachusetts area.
Yes,
Greater
from the Massachusetts
Boston area. Yeah. You guys know I don't know the East Coast.
That's
right?
all right.
This is like my first foray.
There's too much. All the states are real small and wrinkly.
I'm from the American Southwest, where it takes you 10 hours to get to the nearest state. And even then it'll take you an additional many hours to get to a city.
We would go to New Hampshire as a teen. We would go to New Hampshire for fun.
Yeah.
No sales tax. We would go wild.
Fireworks.
I don't understand. Yeah. I don't understand the liquor laws
They're
on the
horrible.
East Coast.
Oh, they're very bad.
Yeah.
I was like, the other night when we were wrapping our show, I had gotten some cocktails and had them in my room. By the way, COVID, no fucking wrap party. So basically it was just like the 4 actors were like, since we all had tested and negative and we all had our masks off anyway, I guess the 4 of us will just sit in a room and have drinks, which by the way was delightful.
Yeah, sure.
Because I love those girls. But one of us wanted wine, and I was like, well, there's a grocery store across the street. Just like someone go run and buy a bottle of wine. And they're like, that's not how New York works. I was like, oh my God, you guys, what's happening? What's happening?
The liquor laws, I think, were drafted on the Mayflower and then just applied forever forward.
Very patrician, old-fashioned.
And the fact that there's like, it's too many states. I don't like it.
It's like when you're having gnocchi, right? You're like, I'm not going to have a cutlet of something. I'm going to have a bunch of little state nuggets.
Yeah, little nuggets.
Too many state nuggets.
Yeah.
I prefer a chicken parm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I understand.
Or even just a chicken cutlet.
Like Josh was saying
parmed.
earlier that he doesn't feel like he deserves better weather-wise. That is, I think, like also applies to the liquor laws on the East Coast. Like people are just like, we don't deserve to have easier ways to get liquor.
Well, also the other thing that's confusing to me here is the weed thing. Like I don't understand at all why it's not legal or like even medicinally in New York. Like that's so wild to me. But if the produce that we've been eating is any indication of the quality of weed you would be growing here, maybe we don't legalize it because it's not.
You're getting like someone's older brother, high school grade weed.
It's not gonna be good.
Yeah,
because
just
go ahead. Sorry.
Only pickled produce in New York.
I feel like once a year, Cuomo is like, all right, you can have weed in the future, but as long as you stay in the basement, if you're going to do it under my roof. And then it never goes further than that.
When I first got here in September, though, there were like all of these giant RVs like on Broadway that had like weed in them, but I didn't understand what was happening. If that was legal or like they were like wrapped, they were wrapped with like, they were like 420 blah, 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 come inside, get your weed. And I was like, this does not seem like the thing that I'm going to do, but
that seems like a trap.
Yeah, it seems like a trap. Right? Well, for a second, I thought maybe it was like it had been legalized and I just didn't know. It's probably a trap. Anyway, being from the East Coast, being from Massachusetts, I saw on your bio a picture of you wearing full Dunkin gear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're a fan.
Big Dunkin fan. Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
So do you have thoughts on whether or not Ben Affleck owns a piece of Dunkin at this point?
I've heard rumors that I can't speak to the like photography of it, but I've heard rumors that the Dunkin thing is like sincere and it's not a financial stake.
That's not true.
That it's just his East Coast preference.
Really?
Josh, I've been telling Busy this. I've been saying that's how deep it goes with us from Massachusetts. That's how much we love Dunkin' Donuts, even though, like it's not magical or whatever.
But Josh, it's comical at this point.
It's so funny. Well, you posted, you're very kind to post that piece I wrote about Ben Affleck a couple months ago. And it feels, I want to believe Like there are some celebrity couples, or any couples that you just see in the world where you're like, I just want to believe this love is real. And that's how I feel about Ben Affleck and Dunkin' Donuts. I just want to believe so badly that this love is real and isn't just set up by his PR, or like he has some kind of minority ownership in a franchise or something.
I just thought that, because remember when Dunkin' was having like a kind of rough time a couple of years ago, and then they changed their name to Dunkin'.
Yeah.
And they lost the donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, there's got to be some version of this where like a few years ago, Dunkin' was going down. And maybe it was the Affleck brothers. I don't know.
Sure.
But definitely Ben got in there and was like, he owns part of Dunkin'.
It could be a case of like Dunkin' had a rough time a couple years ago. It was like maybe Ben realized how close he came to losing something that he loved, and he just like recommitted himself to.
This was also when Ben Affleck was having, I think, a rough time, and I like that you're like, he recommitted himself. He set his life back on the right track with by rekindling his relationship with Dunkin' Donuts.
But also, like, when has Ben Affleck not been having a tough time?
I know. I want him to be well.
Yeah. I root for him. And because we're from Massachusetts, I think it's like we're kind of required to root for him, but also like I just am rooting for him.
Yeah. Well, I feel like his anguish is so well documented. And I almost wrote about this. I think I wrote about it in my book that like just his character in Gone Girl, like people were like, he's just playing himself. You're like, no, that's good acting. We should give him credit for doing a good job in this movie. Because when you watch a movie and you're like, I think that's just how that guy is, that means they're playing the character believably.
Right. That's right. But at the same time, I don't know. He exhausts me.
I can see that. I can see that.
I will have to send you, Josh, I made for Shantira and Caissie, I made masks with Ben Affleck wearing a tiny mask.
I love that.
I'm going to send one to you.
Thank you.
As a thank you for doing this pod.
That's so kind. I appreciate that. I have a Dunkin'
You could actually
mask.
just drop it off at your house tomorrow, I guess.
It's been a long time since I've had visitors. Like, if you want to come and murder me, at first I would just be like, hey, do you want something to drink first? Because we're so lonely here.
How's it been? What's it been like for you?
Maris and I have had, fortunately, having each other has been really wonderful. I had a birthday about a month ago, and it really shook me up, where I was like, because normally we live right across the street from our favorite bar, and I just invite people and I get a little drunk and buy everybody's drinks and just feel like a king, and it makes me so happy. And then this year it was a long weekend around my birthday, and it was very nice to spend time with Maris, but I was like, oh, this is like when we would see our friends. And so it's been I've had like overall a very gentle experience of this pandemic. I've been working basically the whole time. I haven't been alone. We haven't been in each other's hair. We have like enough space that we can both do our jobs at home. But like I'm starting to feel like okay, as gentle as that's been, I am still going to complain all the time. So my dog wakes up between 2 and 3 every morning, and I walk her between 2 and 3 in the morning. And
that is so high maintenance.
She's so high maintenance. She's a little round diva. She's so cute and so grumpy. She's 13 and a half.
Baby.
I know. We call her the old baby. And then Maria, we called her that when we got her when she was 8. And then Maria Bamford called her special old baby. And we were like, that's like our dog. And she's a pug person too. But yeah, she's so, I was just like walking at 3 a.m. I have a mask. I don't wear it unless I see a person like across the street, and I'll put it on to be a gentleman. And I was just like, what a stupid, horrible reality this is.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
It's just
I
abysmal.
almost had a melty just today, because somebody tweeted, and I've seen this 1,000 times. Somebody will tweet, what's the first thing you're going to do when this is all over? And it's the 1,000th time that I've seen that.
Yeah.
But just for whatever reason today, it made me have a meltdown because I was like, it's never gonna be over. There's never gonna be a first thing.
Well, the other thing that got me was when I saw the picture of O.J. Simpson getting the vaccine. And I was like, I get why from a public health perspective, O.J. Simpson would be a vaccine priority. He's an older man. You can't just be like, well, he lost this civil lawsuit, he doesn't get the vaccine.
Right.
That's not how it goes. But I was like, oh, I'm so far from getting this vaccine, and OJ's just like, we're doing it.
Oh, hey guys, Caissie, I sent it to you, right? The like waiting list. I mean, there's no fucking chance for any of us because we're in New York and LA respectively. But do you know about like the 2 different waiting lists?
Oh, no.
What's the 2 different waiting lists?
Caissie, I sent it to you.
I don't think
did
you
not look at
did.
it?
No, I didn't see it.
Caissie, I did.
Busy. I just looked.
Now
and the
listen.
last thing that I have is a conversation about Army Hammer.
If he gets the vaccine before me, I'll be very fussy.
Fucking
I don't think I'm going to qualify till they have it over the counter.
Yeah,
You're
right.
kidding me. I'm not. I'm
You'll
like
be like-
literally never getting it, Josh.
I'll take some
Same.
Plan B and also
That's
this.
that's right. I don't want to have a baby or coronavirus.
Yeah,
Can we take care
I'm
of
not
this in
ready
one
for
trip?
either of those. Josh, I was telling Busy that you were at, speaking of birthday parties, that you were at my husband's birthday party in New York City at Salvation Taco.
It was great.
When our other mutual friend Danielle had she had signed like a book deal that day. And so she came in like a queen and she was like, double the margaritas. And Matthew and I got really drunk, and then our teenage son had to drive us home from Manhattan. And
I
he was
remember
so
that.
mad.
Was that
And he
Eli?
Yeah, he lectured us the whole way. He was like, you were sloppy drunk in front of your friends. It was so embarrassing.
Oh my
Really
God.
flipping the script. When I was in high school, even when I was of driving age, I had a friend whose parents would like drunk drive us home from stuff. And it was like, you could just let us drive. It's legal. But it's that Massachusetts thing of like, I don't deserve better weather. It's like, we're the parents, so we'll drive no matter how drunk we are.
Oh my God, that's insane. I had the thing like my mom picked me up once from a party because I was too drunk to drive home, and I like really believed my mom when she was like, you won't get in trouble, just call me and I'll like come get you or whatever. And she did. She came and got us. And I don't remember if I got in trouble. It actually doesn't matter because the truth is I just like got home and had a hangover the next day and like went back and got my Honda Civic and like
There you go.
That's a happy ending. I was
it was a happy ending. She might have lectured me, but like
What, you don't remember because you were drunk.
I was the designated driver, responsible, no fun friend until I was like 25.
Oh
Really?
my gosh.
Yeah,
really?
and now I'm the no fun friend that's also drunk.
what about all the cocaine you do? I feel like people are always talking about
Okay,
your coke.
this is cold, Busy. This is very cold. This is rumor and insinuation and outright lies
I feel like everyone I know is always talking to you online about your cocaine.
about my cocaine problem. Yeah, which is of course non-existent and was invented by Matt Koff and Paul F. Tompkins.
That seems right. That tracks.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I too have never had a cocaine problem. I truly, but I did use Zicam a lot once when I was in my 20s when I thought I was getting a cold, and I was on a TV show and they brought the set doctor to check me out, and he was like, we need to talk about the cocaine. And I was like, what? Josh, I did so many drugs in high school, but it was all ecstasy, basically.
Sure.
I mean, it was like, that was it. It was like ecstasy and weed and acid and mushrooms. But anyway, and alcohol. But anyway, I've never snorted.
Lipitor.
What?
Yeah.
Lipitor. Just whatever.
What was the one that made people have like the anal leakage?
That was
Oh.
Olestra. That was
just the things they put in those chips.
Yeah, those baked
Yeah.
Lays.
I loved them.
a really good friend of mine who is like a very powerful television executive shat herself before an important meeting because she ate Olestra chips.
Is that true?
That is a power
And,
move.
yeah, she had to tie her like power suit jacket around her waist, and I was like, "You still smell like shit, though."
Oh my god!
And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna be standing far away. Hopefully no one will know.
Did it work? Did they like sell the pitch?
Yeah, did she sell it?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't remember. I just remember that she pooped herself.
Because then after that, you've got to start shitting your pants before every big meeting for luck.
For good luck. Yeah, it's like a bird shitting on you, but it's yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think that's guys. I don't think that holds.
The bird thing?
No, the shitting yourself.
Oh yeah, I don't.
For a
I
big
definitely. If there's anyone listening that's like does that work, I would recommend not trying.
Well, Josh, we like to. Speaking of shitting yourselves before a big meeting,
Of course.
an obvious seg. We do like to talk about pivots in life and
Yes.
career here on this show. And like one thing that I like to know from people, and you're like a very accomplished writer. I mean, you've been, how many Emmys do you have? Like 47 Emmys, I think.
I have four.
That's
4 Emmys.
4 Emmys is the equivalent of 47. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
In that, like, I feel like I'm so fortunate to have been in that position where I'm like, I'm great. I like feel like I don't have to like chase that thing.
Ever.
Yeah. I got all of my succeeding out of the way in my early 30s, and now it's just downhill.
Well, Jesus.
And I'm fine with it.
Well, I feel like every show that you've been on has been successful. I feel like you have a book that's very successful. I feel like your podcast is very successful. It sounds like your marriage is very successful. Your
I would say I'm
seems-
better at my marriage than at comedy. Even.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
I
that's
feel like I'm a good husband. I think
amazing.
I'm so delighted. My wife is the best. My wife, Maris, who's Maris Kreisman, who's a writer and it has done all sorts of things with books and publishing, and but like as a writer herself has published a book. Yeah, I just like am so. I love being married to her. It's the best. I am so. And this year, I think like when a lot of people are kind of like put to the test of like, oh God, like I'm with this person all day, or like I'm by myself all day. It's truly the best thing I've had going for me is like waking up every morning and being like, oh, at least we get to do this together.
Aww.
I'm not gonna cry.
You are a good husband.
That wouldn't-
You are a good husband.
That's really sweet.
Thank
How long have you guys been together? 10 years?
We've been together 7 years, married for 4 this May.
That's wonderful.
I can't believe it's been 4 years already.
I
Wow.
know. It was
Time flies.
I know. It really flies. This was the first time like a week ago I was like, how many years is it? Like to myself, I was like, how many years is it on our anniversary?
Yeah.
Because the first 3, I was like, all right, 1, 2, 3. But then I was like, 4? It can't be more than 4. So maybe I'm
How
not
did
that
you
good a
guys meet?
husband.
This you guys meet?
We met. This could be my pivot story.
Okay, good.
We met at a party she was throwing, and we knew of each other. She had a very successful blog for years. It became a book called Slaughterhouse 90210, which is great. It's so fun. It's still up if you want to look. It's like images from movies and TV, and then quotes from books that she's reading or has read in the past. It's like very fun.
Genius.
She's so brilliant. Anyway, she was throwing a party for the 5th anniversary of her blog, and then a mutual friend who we'd both just met like a month ago was like, oh, I just met you two. Do you know each other? And I was like, well, we know of each other. We've like tweeted once or twice. And she was like, you got to come to this party. So I was coming home to Manhattan from a show I was doing, a stand-up show I was doing in Brooklyn. And I was like, you know what? It's on my way-ish. I'll stop in. I'd been single for like just a month, but I was like, and I just started a new job. I just started working at Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I was doing their like digital.
One of my favorite shows, by the way. I do want to say.
I mean, they do such a great job. I like, thank you. And I just like everyone I know that's still there is like so wonderful and brilliant. And like, I feel so lucky to have gotten to be there. I worked there for 5 years, and it was just a wonderful, like so lucky, such a clinic in writing, and also just like work I was really proud of. So I go to this party, and we met and just like immediately got along. Just like I was like, oh, hi, I'm Josh. She's like, oh, I'm Maris. This is my party. And I was like, great. And we just started chatting, and she said, what's new? And I just booked a gig in Sweden, and I'd never been to Europe before. And I said, I'm going to Sweden. I just found out I'm going to Sweden in a couple months. I've never been to Europe before. I'm so excited. And she was a little tipsy, and she said, well, I want to go to Sweden. And I said the only cool thing I've ever said in my whole life, which is I said to her, sure, yeah, I mean, we should talk about that. But first, why don't you give me your phone number? Let's hang out in the United States first to make sure we don't hate each other. And so I got her phone number, but our friends saw us getting along famously, and they were like, well, we should clear out. Like, we should let this happen. So then, she had a little buzz on, and I escorted her home to Brooklyn, and then got in a second cab all the way up to Harlem, where I lived at the time.
Oh my God.
And
wow, it was a hike. That's a long cab.
It was a hike, and then
$40 later.
Yeah, it was my whole first paycheck from my first TV job went to this. And that's how we met. And I texted her the next day. I said the second coolest thing. These are the only times I've ever been like, oh, that's kind of a suave thing to say. I texted her. I was like, hey, really great meeting you last night. Let's hang out soon before it's weird that we haven't hung out yet. Because you meet someone and you're like, let's hang out. And then you don't. And you're like, well, I guess never.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that to happen. So we had a early breakfast, like a sober breakfast that Saturday.
Yikes.
Before I had to drive out of town to do gigs. It was like a 9 a.m. first date.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It was bonkers, but I was really I really liked her and liked meeting her, and really didn't want it to get to that point of oh, next week, well, I've got a thing on Tuesday, can you do late? And it's
this is the thing. Listen, Sex and the City did a lot of fucked up things and had a lot of bad ideas. The show.
Not just sexual intercourse within the city limits.
Not just sex inside a city. But the one thing that those dudes, and then my husband and his partner wrote the movie version of it, but that he's just not that into you idea is so fucking true. Because what you just said, you were like, I felt this thing. And so I was like, I know I'm going out of town to do gigs. You met her at 9 a.m. for a sober fucking breakfast. You knew you weren't going to get laid, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was clear.
Look, I know what I'm like. There was no way I was pulling that off.
Nothing
in
was
the 1 hour.
But you just wanted to see her again. You wanted to spend time with her, and you made it fucking happen.
Yeah.
And now you guys are married and you love her.
The best. I'm a real believer in I do agree with you, because I think that's a compassionate thing to that's compassionate advice, right? That he's just not that into you. I think is it's a hard truth, but it's not the rules where it's change your whole thing up and then you're suitable to be loved. This is if someone is not demonstrating that they want to treat you well and that they value your time and enjoy spending time with you, then maybe it's not worth the effort of pursuing. And I think that's legitimately excellent advice.
Everybody does a lot of mental gymnastics with their friends because nobody wants people to feel bad, because we all want people to be you are the best thing that's ever happened. Yes. And we see it. And so obviously he wants to see you, but he had to go do stand up. So that's why you couldn't see him again. But the truth is even if the guy's going to do a gig, he's going to meet you at 9 a.m. for breakfast if he wants to see you.
And I mean, part of that is I'm a deeply uncool person in terms of being reserved about stuff. I'm just oh, if I want to be friends with someone, I'll be hey, it was really cool to meet you. Do you want to come to this thing we're doing? You know what I mean? I just feel I felt so little benefit in playing it cool. Also because people don't buy it. They're you're definitely playing it cool. That's not cool.
Well, here's the thing.
Genuine coolness.
As a woman with blonde hair and a vocal fry, I have often had my excitement been misconstrued as stupidity. But really what you are describing is the same thing that I've always wanted to put forth into the world, which is just it's either there's not enough time in the world or there's too much time, but either way, I see this thing, you seem cool, let's do it. Let's be excited about stuff. If we like stuff, let's talk about how much we like it. And Listen,
I love that as like a force for conversation and energy. Like obviously there's stuff that's bad and that needs to be talked about and changed, but there's also like, man, I just heard this album and it's so good and I want to share it with people. And that's like the energy that I want to be bringing to like my friendships and to social media, and the energy you're talking about before of like, you're the best, you deserve the best things. Even if this situation you're in isn't right for you, even if this guy's not interested in you, even if this job didn't pan out, like I believe in you, I'm psyched for you, and like I'm ready to go to the mat for you as a friend.
Did you have a hard time dating or finding people that you like genuinely felt that thing for before Maris?
That's a good question. I was in relationships a lot, like, you know, a year and a half or so at a time, but when I dated, like when I was like, oh, I should go on dates, like the period where I was like online dating, which was pre Tinder, post normalization. So
Right.
it was the brief period where like you were just on OkCupid and that was the thing. I went out on like a bunch of dates in the stretch and I didn't feel it. It was like, and I knew it. And it wasn't like, it wasn't like bad or animosity, but I would go out and have like a drink or an appetizer with someone and just be like, no, because I know when there's somebody that I want to spend time with. And it wasn't even like that. I wasn't like so magnetic that they were like, I have to be with you. And I was like, but I can't. Like, it was just that like mutually, like I think I knew that it wasn't worth like chasing down, like barking up this wrong tree, right? Like chasing down people that I wasn't enthusiastic about spending time with. Cause I have a lot of, I have a busy life. I have lots of friends. It's just not worth, like, I was never motivated to be like, I think if we went out 3 more times, I could hit it though. You know what I mean? I was just like, no, that's not that's not like how I'm going to spend my time. And it's not like a courteous thing to do to this person that I just met.
No.
Well, that says a lot about just how you are, you know, as a person. Like you're motivated by different things. I think I feel comfortable saying that about you, that I know you well enough to say that I think that you're motivated by different things than we usually expect guys to be motivated by. And it really works in your favor, I think.
Well, thank you. I mean, there have definitely been times where I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know how many times I want to see this person, but I would like to kiss them now. Like, and obviously like that is, and I think that's fair. But I think generally I was not like dating to hook up. I was like dating to like meet someone that I wanted to spend time with outside of that additionally, you know? So I would like go on one date and would just be like, you know, it just feels like the idea of like spending additional time like with the goal of sex feels like like if just that, but that's like so many unfun hours to log and to like convince this other person of something.
Do you know what it just occurred to me? This literally just occurred to me is that like dudes have always like known how to masturbate.
Sure.
And like girls aren't like taught about self-pleasure. And so they like get this whole thing wrapped up in it where it's like what you just described is exactly right. And if somebody had taught me how to fucking make myself come when I was a teenager, not taught me, but like,
yeah, I was going to say,
no,
like there wasn't like a guy that came to my house.
But it's so much, but it's like ingrained in our culture.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Girls, especially like my generation, and then maybe even like kind of your generation too, we weren't sort of like told that like sometimes the easier route might be a vibrator.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think there was so much like culturally, even until very recently, where it's like, it was so binary of like, dudes are horny and chicks don't want to give it up. And it's like, that's not, you know, like,
it's not
I
true.
think everybody is horny
Grease.
in varying degrees. That's my sequel.
Grease.
It's not Grease. Right. It's not Grease. That's perfect. It's not just like, we're not just like snapping our fingers singing a song about how like blue our balls are.
I know. And the girls are like, I just want some ice cream.
But it's like, even in Grease, some of the girls were like, no, I'm trying to fuck.
I'm trying to get
Rizzo.
it. Yes. Yeah.
So
One
dumb.
thing about sex is like, what is it analogous to? Like, okay, so sex is like, it can be procreative, but usually not, right? So it's analogous to like a nice night where you're like, we're gonna get nachos tonight. Like it's like a nice way
Every night.
spend a half hour. But could you imagine if people went through all of the games and like rigmarole trying to get nachos that they did to like get sex? Like, can you imagine if you had to pretend to be a different person for like a month to like butter someone out to convince them to give you nachos? That would be insane.
Yeah.
Just
like maybe on the third date we can go bowling.
But that's like all the stigma attached, like specifically because of religion and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, and specifically because of like the patriarchy. With women and their bodies and like what it means to have desire and like want to fuck.
Right.
It has to be like the only way that like religiously women are taught that it's okay is that if they're going to procreate with someone that they love deeply. So like you have to do, again, mental gymnastics come into play because you have to like do a lot of flips and turns to be like, I guess I'm going to love this person forever because I just want to fuck them.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
When you're a kid.
Right. You have to like attach for when it feels like, I mean, again, I was like brought up even boys were told like, this is like a big serious thing. And I feel like just like now, hopefully it's a little better overall, but I feel like I would have grown up with so much healthier attitudes if people are like, hey, this is the thing that comes with like some responsibilities and some risks, but it's like a collaborative fun thing that two people, in my experience too, that two people do together and like when you both want to, and it's like cool and fun and you'll have a good time.
Right. And if you want to do it by yourself, like that's fantastic too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Save yourself some time, consolidate the cleanup. Yeah.
Do you guys watch SNL? Did you watch the Zillow commercial?
Yes.
I mean, that spoke to my soul and I felt very seen. And
oh yeah.
Yes.
It's very charged looking at
it's
real
very
estate.
charged.
Comedian Ted Alexandro. I was
gonna say,
yeah. Ted, who's so funny, has like a great stand-up bit from a couple years ago about it. It's such a great observation of just like that part of the relationship where you're like, check this out, this is hot, right?
Did you see his Instagram post where he was like, yes, everyone's writing to me. I did see Saturday Night Live. Stole my bit. They have 24 hours to send me $1 million. And he was like, and then he was answering questions and people were like, what if they invite you to host SNL? And he was like, well, no, because I don't think that's going to happen. I'll just take the $1 million.
Ted rules. I remember being a fan of his. Sorry to take this off on a tangent. The first, being a fan of his, and then like soon after I moved to New York, getting booked on some little show that he had also agreed to do, and I was like very excited. I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get to watch this guy that I've seen on TV a bunch." And he missed the show, because he was arrested protesting at Occupy Wall Street.
Oh my God.
And I was like, "Oh, that's a real dude right there. Like
That's
that guy
cool.
walks the walk."
That's hilarious.
what do you feel about that thing though, Josh, as a stand-up and like somebody who's prolific on the social medias? Like I have a whole thing that's like I get a little eye rolly about the idea that like only one person has an observational joke about a specific thing. Like it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like we all have children and try to get them out the door with their shoes on. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So like, what do you think about that thing? I mean, there are clearly like the aggregate sites, right? Like Barstool Sports or whatever that suck and just rip people's
Right, and all
things
that
off
like
and,
the fuck Jerry
Yeah,
stuff where they're
yeah.
just like, oh, we'll just take you and crop your name out and we'll
Right.
just post your joke.
Right. Like that's clearly theft. But what do you think about like going after, I don't know, sort of that like intellectual joke property of other?
I feel like it's tough. I mean, like, especially with a show like SNL where it's like I know so many brilliant, wonderful, original people who work there. And so I think if it was a bit of mine, I would feel bad, you know what I mean? And people would be writing me being like, they did your bit. And I would be like, and I think Ted's response of like, they owe me $1 million is like the perfect way to play it, where it's like, I'm a little irked at this, but
Right.
I'm not going to like make a sincere fuss and like be
Right.
like cancel SNL because they stole my bit. It happened. There's a bit that I can't do because it was the the pilot. It came up in the pilot. It's an old bit of mine, an old story that's like not relevant to my life, but it came up in the pilot of Master of None, the Aziz Ansari show, where he buys Plan B for a woman that he had slept with, and he goes, this one's my treat, and buys it at the pharmacy. And I had it was like a 9-minute story that kind of built to that, and I was like, well, anybody who watches TV will be like, you stole that to me. So I was like, I've gotta leave it behind. And and I don't think they took that from me. I just think that's like a thing that two funny people might have done.
Right. That's my question. Right.
On the one hand, it's very painful to have something that you came up with go viral in the hands of someone else when you said it, like either 2 days before or 2 years before. That's kind of a bummer. But then on the other hand, it's also like, well, I mean, something that I said did go viral. It's just that my name's not like attached to it. So, I mean, I guess that means I'm on the right track. Like, it's kind of like a confirmation that that you got it going on a little bit, but in a sad way.
Are there ever things on the late night show where you're like, do you guys do checks? Like, does anyone put a thing through Google to see if anyone's tweeted a joke? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've like definitely. I mean, in the Last Week Tonight writers' room, we would all kind of like check each other, and like if something sounded familiar, we'd look it up. With Jesus and Mero, because we don't write as many like monologue type jokes because the guys are so riffy. Like if something sounds familiar and we're like, oh, I've heard something like that before, we'll make the call like, is it similar enough that we leave it in the cut, or is it, oh, this was someone else does a joke like this, we'll cut it. I think it's like trying to be scrupulous about that stuff is like important, because I know it would be painful for me to see if like a bit that I do appeared on a show and somebody I knew could have like prevented it from happening easily.
Yeah. I think it's like, I like have thought of whenever I think of like an observational funny tweet, I always Google it first.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, chances are someone's fucking said it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like and a few times it's like happened where it's like, oh yeah, that was like so and so said that thing, and like who even knows if like I read it at some point and then it went into my subconscious. Like that's the other thing, right?
Yeah. I think these things happen from time to time, and like being mindful of it and like being careful to not do it when you being like scrupulous about it is really, I think that's like being a good comedy citizen.
Yeah.
A good comedy citizen. I like that. So many people are not though. Josh, how'd you get to be so nice?
Oh gosh, I try. I have sweetheart parents, and I'm bad at being mean. Is the long and the short of it.
You tried it once though, right? Didn't you try being like a little meaner one time for an experiment?
I've tried a couple of times. Like it just doesn't come out right. The results are not good.
How do you mean? What do you mean you tried being mean?
Like
I'm so curious.
I just feel like whenever I'm like, hey, knock it off, the results are always just like someone being like, no, dude, fuck you. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, I feel like I'm always like, I feel like I get better results. Like in addition to it being my natural disposition to be like pretty easygoing and polite and stuff. I also like am not super successful at being like, hey, get out of my way. And people are like, no, I'm going to stay here. And I'll be like, all right, I'll walk around. I get it.
But like, I mean, who does that though? I mean, like, okay, what if you're at, okay, I'm going to give you some, how tall are you, Josh?
I'm like
5'8".
I'm a little taller, 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in there.
5'10".
Oh, you're secretly tall.
I'm definitely taller than my personality. People.
Same with Mark Silverstein.
Is that true?
This is the thing about my husband. He's deceivingly tall. People always think that he is much shorter than he is.
I think you generously put me on 5'8". I think people put me on 5'6" a lot. And I think people think I put out a 5'6" energy, and there's no problem with being 5'6", but it's just like I met years ago a woman I was dating. I met her parents, and they were like, "You're taller than we would have thought." And I was like, "What makes you think I'm like a pocket-sized man?" I don't
know. I don't know. You just like, it is your, I don't know. It's that you're nice. How did you know that you wanted to do stand-up?
I really liked it. Like, I think in high school, I really got into it, like Chris Rock and George Carlin and Mitch Hedberg. And I started doing it because I did like a couple things on campus my freshman year at Brandeis. And then the summer after, I had a friend, like a friend of my childhood friends had started doing open mics, and my buddy Dan was like, well, Joe's doing it, you should do it too. Like, you said you want to do it, why aren't you doing it? If Joe can do it, you can do it. And so I got bullied into my career essentially by my
Wait,
buddy.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
But what happened to the other guy?
He is a lawyer.
Wow.
So we both made it.
I guess. No,
he's great. He's so
did.
funny. I think he's so much funnier than I am. It's just like a guy. But it's doing stand-up is like you just have to like keep showing up.
Well, what did you think in the early days, like, you wanted the rest of your life to be? Did you see yourself on, like, did you think you were going to be on SNL? Did you like want to just do stand-up on like cruise ships? Like, I don't know.
I thought stand-up was like a fun kind of side light, and that I was going to like write literary humor. That's like what I thought. I was going to write, like funny literature. And
Like McSweeney's?
Like more pretentious. Like, I thought it was going to be like a short story writer. And then like now I realize there's like 8 of those in America.
Wait, like what? Like David Sedaris? You thought you
Like,
were going to be
even
David
more highfalutin than
even
David Sedaris.
I guess I'm describing a person that doesn't really exist. Yeah, like funny short fiction, which is like so few people do that. Like, I guess like what Simon Rich's books are. I didn't realize at the time there are fewer people who write literary humor, like novels and short fiction, than there are working stand-up comedians in America.
Right.
Like, it's not even close. Like, there's 100 working stand-up comedians within 10 miles of Boston, and maybe 5 literary humor.
Yeah.
When I graduated, I was doing a lot of stand-up. I was teaching preschool, and my dad...
You taught Spanish, right?
I taught elementary school Spanish for a couple of years, which I was wildly unqualified for.
Are you fluent?
No. I was a Spanish minor in college, and I was still in school when this was happening. And I was teaching like kindergarten Spanish, basically, through 8th grade. And I worked for my mom. My mom was the director of a small school. So there were...
Does she speak Spanish?
Oh, she doesn't speak Spanish. I pulled one over on her. But I did.
Well, I mean, when you're talking about kindergarten Spanish, you only have to teach them so many words.
Yeah, numbers 1 through 20, colors, like a couple little sentences. And then, but I mean, the school was so small that, you know, the 7th and 8th grade combined class probably had 9 kids in it. The kindergarten class probably had 12 kids in it. So really, there's only, the total amount of kids I could have fucked up with my bad teaching was like 100 in total.
Right. That's great.
Over 2 years. And then, so
sure.
I did that my last 2 years in college. And then I taught preschool full time when I graduated. And
do you have to have any sort of special skills to teach preschool, or
you've got to be patient when children cry.
Did you like teaching preschool?
Loved it. This was going to be my other pivot that I was going to talk about.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
So I taught for 4 years preschool, and basically all my previous work experience before, other than comedy, is education. And like, I worked at summer programs for kids, and I was I ran the nursery at a Unitarian church. Like on Saturdays Sundays during church services, I would like hang out with the 3-year-olds while their parents went to church.
That's cute.
And,
I did that too in Catholic church.
Yeah, not a bad job.
No.
And I was a morning person anyway in my teens.
A classic morning person.
Classic teenage morning person. Just a nerd. We've talked about this. I was the designated driver. And so so I taught preschool for 4 years, and it was great. But while I was doing it, I was like, I want to write, I want to do stand-up. And my dad, this is so kind of him, but like, he was like, I know you've been performing a lot, and I know you've been writing a lot for your stand-up, but have you been working on like other stuff? Like, my degree is like English and creative writing, short fiction. And he was like, have you been writing and like submitting stuff? And I was like, not really. And he was like, well, you know, like, I was like, I really what I need to do is like find places that I think my writing would be a good fit for, and like read a bunch of literary magazines, and like that this is like the advice I got. And my dad was like, well, how much do those cost? And I was like, I don't know, probably like $10 a piece. And he gave me $40 and was like, well, figure out like where you think your writing is a good fit for and like really go for it. And it was so sweet. Like, because it wasn't he wasn't like, I'm gonna bankroll you till you make it, kid. He was just like, oh, this is the practical thing you need to be doing, so like if this is the impediment, go do it. And it was like so lovely of him. And so I taught preschool for 4 years while doing stand-up, and then the pivot point was had started doing more and more stand-up like further and further from home, and was like, all right, I think I have a chance at doing this as a job, and I can't do it if I stay in Boston. So I left teaching full time and moved to New York, and I was like a part-time standardized test tutor, but like I haven't been like in a classroom since I guess like 2011.
How'd you get hired on Last Week Tonight? Was that your first?
That was my first. Well, I did a tiny bit of work for Billy on the Street the summer before that, just like a teeny tiny, like I sent them like a sheaf of jokes, like the way you would like hand to Sid Caesar, in the 1960s or whatever. And I did a tiny bit for that, but my first full-time job was doing the digital and social media stuff at Last Week Tonight, and then I moved over to write for the show. And I'd applied as a writer. I kind of got the opportunity to start like applying for TV writing jobs because of a viral parody Twitter account that I co-wrote, the Modern Seinfeld.
I was going to say the Seinfeld.
Yeah. and which was like a very silly, fun thing, and it like got me in contention for these jobs. And so I did like a year of stand-up, little freelance magazine writing, tutoring, and then just like applying to 20 writing jobs, like doing, like a 5-9 page submissions for writing jobs, like I guess almost twice a month.
Nice. I mean, that's a hustle.
And it's tricky. It's a lot to generate. And I think it's different than like in a scripted show where usually, right, if you have a script that's really great, you can show it to someone and be like, I wrote the script. And then if they say no, you can turn around and show it to another person and be like, I wrote the script, and maybe they'll hire you. But with late night, the tradition has been like unique.
You need a fresh
sample
one.
materials
the
for every
half-life is
show
of everything,
Yeah. It is true. I mean, when we were hiring for our show, like Caissie and I read everything, and we took submissions from everywhere. Basically, we were like, Instagram, hit us up. Twitter, hit us up. Whatever, hit us up. And it was a lot to get through. And you could definitely tell the people that were like trying to just like recycle bits.
Sure.
We're like,
right.
This definitely feels like it's for someone with the first name James. Like any of them.
One of the many
Just
television
any of
Jameses.
This does not feel like it's for a woman.
No, I mean, and I would try to like fudge it every once in a while too, where like, Conan has those characters that interrupt from the audience, and like Seth Meyers sometimes does that. So maybe like adapt it and just like find and change all Conan to Seth in my submission packet.
But one sneaks through, and they know it.
Oh my gosh!
Like, what other Conan do you know? It's like busted. Not that many other Conans roaming around.
What's like your dream moving forward? What do you want to do?
Oh my gosh! Well, I feel so lucky to like have worked. I went from Last Week Tonight, and I've been at Jesus and Marrow for the last like 2+ years, like, and I feel so lucky to have gone from like one dream job to a different dream job. And I think like in the future, like I hope to stay here for a while, but like in the future, I would like to like be a part of like creating and collaborating on stuff kind of from the ground up with a show, whether it's something that I create or like someone that I really like and respect, and that comes to me and is like, let's do something together. Like that is a really exciting thing for me, like to consider, and hopefully I'll get to do that.
I think you will. What about turning Make My Day into a show?
I would love to do that. I love doing the podcast. It's so much fun. It's so silly. It like really and truly does like fulfill the premise of the podcast, which is like I bring on a guest to cheer me up, and it like I've left every recording just being like, oh, that was so fun. Like, what a great time. The best.
Impetus and the idea behind it, just that like everything sucks. And so you wanted to have something nice. Can I tell you what I like best about it, Josh?
Please.
Most of them are like 30 minutes.
Absolutely. They whip by.
They're just like, we're in, we're out, we laugh, we have a nice time, you're soothing, bye.
It's so silly though. That's like the thing is like 30 minutes. If it were longer, if it were like 50 minutes, it would be like eating just like a plate of whipped cream. It's like, well, I have to stop at some point, right? This is too much.
But it is really like, I do have to say, I'm not a huge podcast bitch. Like I'm just not, but I'm getting more into them because I'm like listening to people's, because I'm trying to do better at my own. You know, I'm a perfectionist, Josh. So I have to like see all the things that are out there and know how I can be better than those things. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But
Crush
yours
him.
is different. But yours is like, because yours is like essentially like a game show kind of.
Yeah.
And I love that it's like just this little quick, fun, sweet bite.
I really appreciate that. It is like so fun to make. And it's the idea of like, it was originally going to be more of a panel show. Like, but then we were about to launch the week before the pandemic really hit America. And
everything
so
was about to launch the week before.
Yeah, everything was about to launch.
Everything that was ever about to launch was that week.
Yep. Absolutely. And we were going to start doing this panel show, and then it was like, well, now we can't have a panel in the same room. So my producer Rich from Radio Point was like, what if you did it like with one person? And at first I was like, well, what's a game show with one contestant? And then I was like, oh, well, a game show with one contestant is like almost perfect. It's like kind of perfect for the vibe of the show anyway, because it just means the one contestant always wins. And then I added on this element where each contestant sets the new all-time high score.
That's
so
great.
every week they set the new all-time high score, which is like, it puts me in a real prison of math to have to do like on the fly every week. But I don't do all the addition because I forget what I say like on the podcast. So our producer will do the addition, and then she'll like whisper it. She'll be like, it's 1,000 points. I'll be, 1,000 points, the highest score in the show's
What
history.
are you up to now?
The highest one we've recorded is 1,200 points. And the first one was like 36. The first episode.
Who is the first person?
Akila Hughes, who's wonderful. She's awesome.
Are you going to let her come back on to try to beat?
I think I have to. What I didn't consider, this like caused me so much anxiety when someone pointed it out, because I was like, oh, every guest is the highest score, so everyone will be happy. And they were like, but what about the people from the beginning who only scored 30 points? And I was like, God damn it. And so I think I'm gonna have to bring them back on.
Well, I hope Akila's training to come back and crush everyone.
And I hope I get to come. But here's the thing that I'm just going to respectfully ask of you.
Please.
I'd like to be the last guest.
We'd like to be the last
Because
guest
I need
to go out on top.
I need to have the highest score, Josh.
Okay.
Honestly,
I respect that.
So when you know it's over,
yep,
you call your girl.
I will. I'll I feel like it's so funny to be like, do you want to be on my last ever podcast? And then I close my laptop like Sam Malone leaving Cheers for the last time.
Did you like go to the Cheers bar a lot in Boston when you were a kid?
There was a touristy one, because there's the real one. There's the Bullet pub that it's modeled on, and then there was a Cheers in Faneuil Hall, the touristy part of the city. Yeah, and there was a comedy club there briefly, and so I've been in there. But it's like very. It would be like asking, like, oh, you're in New York. Do you go to the Red Lobster in Times Square frequently?
It wouldn't be Red Lobster. It would be the TGI Fridays. You knew TGI Fridays started in New York.
I think it's the Upper East Side one, right? Because wasn't cocktail based. I think I heard this somewhere that the like flair bartending is like started in like a TGI Fridays on the Upper East Side.
So my husband's parents, I like won the in-law lottery. They're like the greatest people of all time, and they're both New Yorkers. A couple years ago, over Thanksgiving, they told us the story of how they had met at the opening night of the original TGI Fridays. And everyone's mind was fucking blown. It is like a story for the ages.
TGI Fridays should put a picture of them on the menu.
I agree. Well, Mark's mom was a flight attendant, and she lived in an apartment that she shared with like 9 other. I mean, they weren't at the time called flight attendants; they were called stewardesses.
Yeah.
That she shared with 9 other stewardesses who all had alternating schedules. So it was like just a crash pad. She didn't know any of the other women that lived in the apartment.
This is incredible.
But like they told us this whole story, and I was like, Mark's a screenwriter. I'm like, dude, this is your fucking movie. Like, do this. This is insane. And he was just like, I don't know.
I enjoyed the television show The Flight Attendant very much.
Oh, I
haven't
loved it
watched
too.
it. Is it good?
I really
like
really
it.
good. KiwiCo was great.
She's great. I think it is like really fun and exciting and does not take itself very seriously, which is a problem I have with like a lot of like limited series.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, you want me to think you're so
Deep.
prestigious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it would have added a dimension to the show if she lived with 9 other women on alternating schedules that she never saw. I think it would have upped the tension and the excitement.
That's
shit.
true. That is
Season
true.
2.
Yeah.
That's true.
Pitch it.
I
Yeah.
hope so. Her apartment is like, I was like, on one salary?
It's pretty nice.
Damn.
Yeah. It's a pretty nice place.
Pretty nice.
That's always the thing in television, isn't it?
And it's also a thing for people from Massachusetts, right, Josh? Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
You think you're better than me, Kaylee Cuoco? Oh, and your single salary, your 1-bedroom apartment. All right, must be nice. Miss Big Shot flight attendant. Sorry to make you watch this busy while we enjoy this
is every conversation that Josh and I ever have face to face, it will end with this.
With must be nice.
Must be nice.
Yeah,
Must be nice.
Yeah. I feel
Mr. Big
rude
Shot.
that we're not looping in Jen Kirkman to join us.
Oh, she's like her accent is so good.
It's so
too.
good.
So just hardcore
She
guy.
would shut it
kidding
down,
me,
yo.
dude?
Kid.
Shut it down. Affleck at
I
Dunkin.
do feel like there's a lot of must be nice conversations in the Affleck household.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They're the kings of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I wonder if Caissie ever calls him and he says, "I saw those 2 giant Dunkin iced coffees that you were carrying. Must be nice."
You live in the
Nice.
delivery zone, guy? Must be nice. I gotta get in my car. I gotta drive through the drive-through in Malibu, dude. You shitting me with this?
After I go to the farmer's market. All right, that's it for me and my bad impression.
Hardest
Thing that
accent.
was played.
I feel like Massachusetts is so rarely done well. Mad props to Leonardo DiCaprio. He's really the only one that does it well, who's not from the area, I believe.
Where's Leo from originally? Do we know? Are we sure he's not from?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, they would
Massachusetts?
claim him loud.
Oh, they would.
When I was in high school when Titanic came out. People would the girls in my grade would have been like, he's from Concord.
Because we have Matt LeBlanc. We're very proud of Matt LeBlanc. Friend Matt LeBlanc is from
Who isn't?
Massachusetts.
Who
else do we got, Josh?
Oh,
Who?
we'll claim Amy Poehler.
Yes.
Sure.
We'll claim Adam Sandler and Sarah Silverman, and they're from New
They're
Hampshire.
from New Hampshire.
We're greedy.
Yeah. It's true.
Canopy Lake Park.
I was just telling a story about knocking myself out at Canopy Lake Park the other day on Twitter.
Wait, really?
Yeah, in the glass house, I
told the
knocked
story-
myself out.
Oh no! Were you thinking about it because of the weekend Super Bowl performance?
Yes. I was like, that looks like me trying to get through the glass house.
This is Caissie, this makes my whole week because I saw that meme and I almost tweeted like me at age 12 in the Canopy Lake Park Hall of Mirrors, and I have like goosebumps on my arms from you saying this.
I knocked myself out, blood on the glass, and my Uncle Tony had to come in and get me. My Uncle Tony had like only 7 fingers, but he was still a hero. And then
But in the Hall of Mirrors he had 14.
And then I watched the teenage Canopy Lake Park employee Windex my blood off the off the wall.
this is like, it's the closest amusement park to like suburban Boston.
Yeah.
And the theme is New Hampshire. Like, it's just like we got one.
It's just like, yeah, that the theme is you got out of Massachusetts for an afternoon.
It's like a carnival that was too tired to keep moving. And it just stayed.
Oh my God. Does it still exist?
I think it does. I'm so sorry, Busy, to hijack your podcast just to talk New England nonsense.
I mean, it is nonsense. Yes.
Full nonsense. It doesn't make sense.
Why
makes no sense.
Why does New England love amusement parks so much when they hate amusement?
I know.
That actually is funny.
It's so funny. And they're not, the thing is, they're not chain amusement parks. They're like,
no.
You don't
They're
want to go.
one-offs.
You want independent. You were talking about independent film earlier. You want to go to a mom and pop restaurant. You don't want to go to an independent amusement park.
But there really are so many of them on the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah.
Woo!
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like, but it's. I think it's the. Oh, you think you're better than me with your talking mouse and your dogs?
Yeah.
Nah.
We made our own park.
We got.
Near lake.
It's on Canopy Lake. We're calling it Canopy Lake Park. It's. I have more than one Canopy Lake Park story because it's like the only place. Like it's like an hour away.
I have to look it up now, guys.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sorry.
I also what's the thing that goes around and
The
you
Turkish
stick to
twist.
the wall?
Yep.
Yeah, I also vomited in the Turkish twist. And vomit in the Turkish twist does something spectacular.
I've seen it. You think I haven't seen vomit in the Turkish twist?
It just goes in front of you and stays there for a second and then mostly goes on the person
At my
next to
8th
you.
grade graduation, when a kid kept holding his arm straight out and then letting the G-forces pull it back till he like bonked another kid in the stomach. And then he did it so many times that the other kid was like, I'm going to puke. Stop doing it, Scott. And he kept doing it. And then he puked on him on the ride.
Okay, here are the attractions. Here are the attractions that are open. The Alpine Swing. This looks like straight out of literally 1972.
Yeah.
The Antique Cars.
Yes.
Also. The Audubon.
Fun.
Also looks like, I mean, the Blue Heron Lake Cruise. That looks terrible.
Yeah, you don't want
That's
to go
just
to
like a weird houseboat.
Yeah.
What's happening here? Boats? Just boats? Boston Harbor Patrol? Boston Tea Party? What is any of this? You guys. Oh my God. They do have an Instagram and I'm following it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm following their
yeah,
Instagram,
that's
guys.
I'm gonna smash that. I'm gonna smash follow on Canopy Lake.
can't
Sorry,
wait.
guys, I just followed it.
Instagram.
It looks literally insane.
Ah.
They have a lot
It's
of
good. I
followers.
think you should go there.
Oh wait,
You're
they
on
have
the, you're-
they have a terrifying mascot named Molly,
Oh,
who's like a big gray mouse wearing a pink dress.
Molly Mouse.
on Molly.
Get
on
the
Molly.
fuck out of here. Molly Mouse. Just an Irish Catholic Minnie Mouse.
Oh my God. Oh. All right.
Too good.
Well,
It's too
guys,
good.
I'll meet you at Canopy Lake Park.
It's a combination. It's like a Party in the Woods meets Disney World.
It looks totally bonkers, and I cannot wait to go there with you guys.
Sully brought a keg in the woods and we just built an amusement park around it.
Oh my God.
This is delightful. And I have to go, I guess, put my children to bed soon.
I get to take a nap before my dog wakes up.
The taking your dog for a walk between 2 and 3 in the morning. Josh, I'm just gonna say it. It's too much.
It's really weird. I'm like, I know I'm someone's weird guy. like, there's a weird guy in the neighborhood who's always walking a fat dog like 100 feet at 2 in the morning. And it's like, I don't think he's dangerous, but it's definitely weird.
I mean, I can't even imagine what would happen if you had children, though.
Oh.
Like, you'd be like, You'd do anything for them.
I would.
You'd be the weird guy with the kid at 2 a.m.
I would be so taking my kid out for a walk at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Making him pee outside. This was such a treat.
So nice
do need
to
your
see
address
you.
so I can bring you a mask.
I'll text you. I have your number now. You sent
Okay,
me all
yeah,
those.
text me your address.
You sent me all those vaccine infos.
I'm gonna bring you a vaccine and a Ben Affleck mask.
In a big Dunkin' iced cup. They say you got to keep it cold. They didn't say you can't put 2 sugars in it. Well,
Josh,
thank you so much.
it was a delight to have you. Listen to Josh's podcast, Make My Day. Get his book.
Thank you.
And also check him out on Twitter and say hi to him because I bet he'll say hi to you.
That's probably true.
It is.
Thank you, Caissie. Thank you, Busy. This was such a treat. Thank you for having me on. I had so much fun. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Dame, I wanna come forever. Guys, do you know that women are 4 times more likely than men to say that sex was, quote, not pleasurable in the past year?
I believe it.
I mean, that tracks for me. I get that. Luckily, Dame Products are here to help. Dame Products is a female-founded company making toys for sex that close that pleasure gap. They're making the world a happier place, one vag at a time.
Your vag really needs cheering up right now.
My vag is I'm gonna like get whatever's going on all fixed up, and then I'm gonna get that Dame product right up in there. Their vibrators and accessories are made with medical grade silicone, smart design principles, and lots of love. They earn glowing press from the New York Times, W Magazine, and many more. They also have 2 products that are pretty amazing. They've got the Arc, which is a G-spot vibrator that helps you discover the perfect spot. And here's just a fun fact about that. After launching in January 2020, Arc sold out in just 72 hours. They also have the Eva 2, which is a wearable hands-free external vibrator for couples. The flexible wings on Eva 2 are smaller and lighter. Hold it in place so your hands are free to roam wherever they want to go. It's designed to provide clitoral stimulation during penetrative sex. And the best part, Dame offers hassle-free returns within 60 days. Your satisfaction is literally guaranteed. Go to dameproducts.com/busy today for 15% off. That's dameproducts.com/busy for 15% off site-wide. Care of is a wellness brand that makes it easy to maintain your health goals with customized vitamin plans that help you feel your best today and support you in the long term. What do you think? Was that good?
It was, yeah.
I liked it.
Very soulful.
I liked it. It was soulful.
Yeah.
Listen, this is what Care of is. Care of has... Hold on. All right. Care of's in-depth 5-minute online quiz asks you questions about your diet and your lifestyle, your health concerns, and helps you address your specific wellness goals. They have this very holistic online quiz. It's like getting a one-on-one consultation with a nutritionist, all without leaving your house. And your recommendations...
Because that's overwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah, that's overwhelming when you're trying to decide, when you're going and you're standing in the aisle at a store and you're trying to figure out what it is you need to buy for your concern. Like, I'm always concerned with energy and, and you're asking an employee, they don't know any better than you know. So
I mean, and sometimes they pretend like they do, and it's just a disaster. You know what I mean? And then you're like taking these like giant...
It's a disaster.
You're taking like these giant horse pills, and then you find out that like, oh shit, you're not supposed to be taking those because blah, 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 blah. And you're like, ah! So that's why this is such a better way of doing it. The recommendations come in daily individually wrapped packets that are perfect for getting back onto a routine. I love how cute and convenient the little packets are. Because I also, a lot of times when I'd be going to work early in the morning, I want to grab my vitamins for the day, but I want to just like throw them in my purse. I don't want to spend the time like opening up like 7 bottles and getting them all out. You know what I mean? And then putting them in like a little plastic
bag. The jar
bag.
opening is sad. Yeah.
The jar opening is sad and also time consuming. And also, this is just a way easier way to do it, guys. So, and I never like to take vitamins on an empty stomach. So I'd have to wait to take them. But then by the time I'm rooting around at the bottom of my bag for all of these loose vitamins, it's like, hey, Faye,
linty ass vitamins.
No, it's gross. So that's why Care of is perfect for everyone. And February can still be a fresh start to a new year. You know what I mean? I didn't even say this yet, but I'm going to do some fresh starting soon.
That's good.
health stuff. I missed it in January because it was too stressful to do it. And then, I'm doing it now. So, and your resolutions don't have to be giant. Small, impactful changes are just as important. Like adding daily vitamins to help support your energy and sleep and fitness. And whether you have short or long-term goals. Listen, Care of can help you figure it out. So make taking better care of your health a real priority and make it super easy with Care of. For 50% off your first Care of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code BEST50. That's takecareof.com, promo code BEST50. Euphorics. Drinking is fun, but hangovers are not. Euphorics is the first non-alcoholic drink for grown-ups who care about the little things like brain function and hormone harmony and great sex and de-stressing after an insane day.
I want all those things.
I mean, I want them all. You do have to drink different ones to get different things, but
that's all right.
That's fine.
I'm willing
we
to
can
do that.
Work. Euphorics are stacked with the good stuff and none of the bad. So think, herbs and mushrooms and all kinds of things, mushrooms that help curb stress. What are they called? Reishi? Maybe. Anyway, and nootropics that support cognitive functions like clarity, memory, and creativity. Also, we love to see it. The Kin brand is female founded. It's amazing.
Nice.
Euphorics has designed 3 mood-defining drinks for every occasion. It's like the Spotify of beverages. There's High Road, which hosts an herbaceous flavor and a feeling of a lifted mind and a relaxed body. Great for social hour. Then, my personal favorite, the Kin Spritz, is a sparkling Aperol-like brain boost without the crash or hangover. And finally, there's Dreamlight. This booze-free nightcap tastes like an Amaro and melts away stress. We've worked out a special deal for the Busy Doing Her Best podcast listeners. You can receive 15% off plus free shipping on your order. Go to kineuphorics.com/busy or use code busy at checkout to claim the deal. That's KINEUPHORICS.com/busy. He's a delight. A true delight.
He is. It's funny how much we use the word delight talking about him, but he really just is. There's no better word for Josh than delight.
No. Listen, we started to talk about it right before we went to our interview, but these gender reveal parties have got to stop, guys. They have to stop. We have to do something.
I mean, in case you don't know, a father-to-be recently died as a result of an explosive device that was being built for a gender reveal party. I mean,
I don't even understand. You guys, what's wrong with a fucking cake? You know what I mean? Gender's a construct.
Yes.
Go fuck yourselves.
So we don't need it. But B, why does it always have to be an explosion to reveal the gender that we don't need to know?
Also, I really don't get it. I always wanted to know what I was having.
Yeah.
I always wanted to know what I was having.
Yeah.
I was one of those people, I was not waiting for the birth to find out.
Right.
That's not my vibe.
Right.
But at the same time, I was fine with just like in the ultrasound room, like what is it? What do you see?
Right. And also
that was gender reveal enough.
Yeah. And the birth is like a gender reveal. But also what we're learning is now that we know better and we're doing better, birth isn't even 100% indicator of gender. That's
no,
that person that's being born will tell you later what their gender is. I think we move gender reveals to the funeral. You know what I mean? Like when I die, whoever's doing my funeral can be like ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Caissie was a girl. If you didn't know, like that, just and then no one has to die. Nobody has to die.
You're already dead.
And then
dead.
Like blow me up if you have to explode something because I'm already dead. But like, please.
I feel like that's like Nordic. Don't they blow? Was that like a thing? What is that thing?
Are you
where
thinking
they like
of
put you out on a boat
Midsummer?
and then they like explode and they explode you?
Maybe
God.
they like or maybe not explode, but maybe set on fire. I don't know. I'm just guessing. It's pretty violent.
They did that in the like
That's also another thing. It's pretty violent to explode anything. Why do you want to herald the birth of a gentle baby by exploding anything? And now this
because people are fucking wild.
People
are wild.
How many babies in our country now are going to have to grow up knowing that their gender reveal party killed someone?
Well, at least 10.
At least 10.
It's a lot. 10 more than we needed.
Yeah, and this poor baby on the way is now gonna enter the world with down one parent because of an explosive device.
And the trauma that they'll all suffer for the rest of their lives because of what happened.
Yeah, and then like
it's like
I feel like Zach Braff is gonna make a movie about some shit like this. You know,
it's interesting that you say that. I had a meeting with these very now famous director people.
Yeah.
And they kind of like pitched me a intense drama about kind of like along these lines. More like about like a YouTube family.
Oh, okay.
Like pushing the envelope and like using their kids. And
yeah,
it was really interesting. I was very into it. And they're like the perfect people to do it. But they did other things instead that are very popular and got them nominated for things. Anyway, I never worked with them. Wait, you know what else we have to talk about?
What?
The Ted Cruz's wife's group chat that took him down. It's my favorite thing ever.
And then he went on a podcast today to say that, to like claim that the people that leaked in the group chat were assholes. And I'm like, I mean,
no, he did not. Wait, what?
Yeah,
he went on some,
I missed that,
conservative podcast, and he was like, how about not being assholes about the people that leaked the group chat? And I'm like, here's a couple things. They might be assholes a little bit, but in an asshole contest, they're definitely not winning, like, over you, Ted Cruz.
No, but I mean, yeah, like, doesn't he know that he's the biggest asshole of all time?
Obviously.
No,
I mean, I
almost
feel like he has to know. But here's the thing, everybody. We encourage you all to get into group chats and to take your most private secrets to the group chats. But Heidi Cruz, if you're listening, your neighbors on your street, just because you all have each other's phone numbers and you have a group chat, that is not a secure friend group chat. I feel bad for Heidi Cruz because I feel like she doesn't know what a friend is.
Well, that's
obvious.
Yeah.
Obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, she's married to Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not even a friend to her.
No, he's not. No. Mm-mm.
But I feel bad for Heidi Cruz because either she's like completely oblivious or she truly believes that because someone lives next door to her and gave their phone number to her that they're like tight.
Well, it's obvious that she is oblivious because she let her husband dress like that going to the airport and he looks terrible. Also, she's obviously oblivious to like share the fact that she's traveling to Mexico during a crisis.
A crisis in your
tragedy.
Yeah.
And also still a pandemic. Ted and Heidi.
Still a pandemic. Help people in a crisis.
Yeah.
Or
Or like
traveled.
at
So
least,
they're obviously oblivious.
at least give the appearance of being helpful. And also a lot of fucking nerve traveling to a country that he has allowed to have been shit on for the past 4 years by our president. I mean, it just if you were trying to do something wrong, you couldn't have chosen a more perfect series of wrong decisions as Ted Cruz did in this situation.
Correct.
Including him trying to blame his daughters.
His daughters who are like...
I don't even understand that.
They're like 12 years old.
Dude, I feel sorry for those kids. They're going to fucking hate that guy so deeply.
I mean, I think they already did.
You know,
you've seen that clip of him trying to hug his daughter.
Of course I've seen it when he's like trying to kiss them, hug them. Ugh.
And his daughter's like,
it's like
hell no.
No. Like, okay. Wait, here's some other things. Ted Cruz is trash. Oh, Shailene Woodley got engaged to Aaron Rodgers. Did you know that?
I know. I saw that. Well, I saw that he referred to
Who's Aaron Rodgers again? He's pretty. He looks like Jake Gyllenhaal, kind of.
He's the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
But who did he date that was famous?
Olivia Munn.
He was Olivia Munn's boyfriend.
I love the quickness with which Ray answered these questions.
This is why, remember, he was such an asset in the Busy Tonight room because he always knew all the hot goss.
It's just such a weird pairing.
I don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. He dated another actress.
Yes, there's a lot of blinds about him, though. So
there are blinds about him?
A lot of blinds. I mean, you don't know this because you don't care about reality TV drama, but his brother was like on a reality show and he's not a reality star, and like they openly do not communicate. Like,
I know that. No, I do know that. I love that. I love that fact. The brother was on The Bachelor.
Yes.
And they won't speak to won't speak to him.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe he's, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's just a lot of...
Is he so much older than...
No, I think they're only like... It's less than 10,
I don't know how old Shailene Woodley is. Like, to me, she could be a teenager still.
She does give off
like Taylor
very
Swift.
Teenager.
Like,
he's 37 and she's 29.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a bigger... I mean, that's... is that the same?
8 years.
Isn't that what Mark and I are? It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm asking a question I know the answer to.
Yeah.
It is. But not... Okay, everybody yesterday in my house was scandalized by the Lucy Hale spotted making out with Skeet Ulrich photos.
I just felt like I had traveled back to the 1990s.
Well, their age difference is very sizable because Skeet is 52.
Yeah.
And she's 31, 32, something like that.
She's another one who will always be young.
She seems a lot younger than
she is.
Is. And Mark and I were weirdly on opposite sides of this one.
Oh, really?
In which I was like, I don't know, whatever. It's not a big deal to me. She's in her 30s. I don't know. When you're in your 30s, you're like a full grown adult.
Yeah.
And he's like a young 51. He looks like he looks very young. And I don't know. I just didn't think it was a big deal.
And
everybody's like freaking out about it.
I'm going to reserve my...
It's like a 20-year age difference.
I disagree with you only because if you look at his track record of who he's been dating, he's in a spiral. He's been dating models. He's been flying to Miami.
Oh, see, Raymond has all the info. I don't know this.
He's been on vacations.
Mark was firmly in the it's gross camp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's gross, but I would assume that someone like Lucy, who you've met, right, at the gym. Did you ever meet her at SoulCycle?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
She used to come in a lot. And she seemed like she had a good head on her shoulders. I can't imagine her dating some like 50-year-old man who's dating all these 20-year-old women.
Let me just say this. They were just kissing. Like, they're not getting married or whatever. Maybe she just wants to have sex with Skeet Ulrich.
That's what I'm saying.
She's a grown woman.
Very true.
I'm gonna reserve my horror for Scott Disick dating young Amelia Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
That's been going on forever.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, he's been dating Lisa Rinner's daughter for months.
How old is she? Isn't
she's
she a teenager?
19,
She's
I think.
19.
She's a teenager.
Yeah, I think she's 19.
She's a teenager.
Yeah.
That is a teenager.
She might be 20 now, but when they started, I think
she's
she was
19.
19.
19.
Oh my God.
And he's
how old is he? My age?
I believe he's in his late 30s.
So basically my age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
37, which is what I asked if I looked like yesterday. What do you guys think? Do you think I could pass for 37?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm not, but I think I could.
Yeah. I think casting wise, you could go down to like 34.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Raymond, get out of here.
Raymond wants a raise.
I mean, no, I just mean like, you know, you like get the casting thing and the age range is like 34 to 44.
Yeah.
You could do
I was
it.
just told I was too old for a job that I kind of wanted.
Oh.
What was the age?
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I hate
you know
that. I hate that.
You know what? Ageism.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. The other thing that happens is that I have, since I've been acting since I was a teenager, a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, she's too old for this. But it's like, they just think,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like they think that I've been around forever, which is true, but I'm also not.
Whenever people
that long in the
say
tooth.
Lindsay Lohan's age, people are always shocked at how young Lindsay Lohan is, but it's like because she's been famous since she was like 10. So
How old is she?
She's like,
Is it that or is it the fillers?
It's the fillers.
Yeah, let's be honest. Caissie,
no, I think it's because of how long Lindsay Lohan's been famous. So we've known of her for like however many years, 20 something years. So you just automatically assume that she's a certain age, but it turns out that she's, you know, same with Britney. Like I would think that Britney's like 56 years old, but she's not. She's like barely 40.
Is she 40?
Lindsay Lohan's 34 years old.
She's 39.
And I would, if I would have guessed, I would have said Lindsay's older. And like, I've seen her in person. I don't think looks are even like an indicator of age anymore because we have so much at our disposal to like if you look at B. Arthur when she was 40, she looks like 109 years old compared to like what a 40-year-old looks like today, just because we have like different things at our disposal. I think even the average 40-year-old woman looks like much younger than
like dyeing our eyebrows.
Yeah, like dyeing our eyebrows. I think even like the average, you know, 40-year-old school teacher in 2021 who's not a Hollywood actress or whatever looks much younger than a 40-year-old teacher in like 1982.
I think it depends. I remember going to Mark's high school reunion, and you know, he went to high school outside of DC in Maryland.
Yeah.
And I remember it was just like very clear the people who moved to big cities and the people who didn't. Like the people who moved to New York or LA or who were working like in DC, living in DC, just looked so much younger than the people who like stayed in the town and were like living that life.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's interesting. I don't know if I ever think of it as necessarily looking younger. I just think of it as looking like maybe more polished. I mean, if you've ever seen like a makeover on the Today Show, you see like a lady who, you know, is her husband.
This is a good point. You're bringing up a good point.
Nominates her for a makeover, and she comes in and
I hear you.
You know, gets like whatever done, and all of a sudden. So I don't know if it's necessarily like strikes me as younger, but just like more polished. And it's really funny because how many times have you like thought that you look pretty decent, and then like a hair and makeup person like gives you a once over, and then you're like, oh, I look like 1,000 times better than I just did when I did my own hair and makeup. It's kind of wild.
I occasionally have posted like a thing on Instagram and then have been surprised by like DMs or comments where people are like, are you okay? You look so you don't look well. And I'm like, oh Jesus.
Oh Lord.
I mean,
it's really
okay. I'm fine.
It's rough.
I thought I looked good. This was my good pick.
I was proud of this.
I was proud of it. I loved it.
Hair and makeup is total. It's artistry. It's witchcraft. It's like what people can do nowadays with hair and makeup. And also the smallest thing like can just really make someone DM you and ask, are you feeling okay? Like I remember when I lived in New York City and I was working and had like a little disposable income, I told my husband that I wanted to get fillers like under my eyes because they were getting more hollow now that I was in my 40s. And I loved my dermatologist in New York City because I would always say like, can I get fillers? And she would say, absolutely not. Like I won't allow you to do it. And then one time I finally did ask after I had turned 40? And she was like, yeah, maybe. And then I was like, okay, then I know she's like legit. So I said that I wanted to do it. And my husband was like, no, I don't want you doing anything to your face. I love your beautiful face and it's perfect how it is. And I mean, this woman used like a half a vial of filler under my eyes, and even my husband was like, I have to admit, it does look pretty good. It makes like a huge difference. And then I was like, even the purest of heart, that guy had to admit that my eye fillers looked a little better than before.
Listen, here's the thing with all of that shit. I don't do it because of my contract with Olay.
Yeah.
Again, guys, not an ad. Just these are things I care
Just
about.
the truth.
Brands I work with. But I can't get Botox or fillers or anything because that's part of their whole deal, right? But I have always taken very good care of my skin. I always drink a lot of water. I get facials. I I'm lucky enough to be able to afford to get lasers on my skin from time to time. I've done PRP, which is like where they inject your blood platelets into you. Like, I have done other stuff that's not like the filler,
nothing artificial
way of going.
Yeah.
I haven't ever done the artificial way of going.
Yeah.
That being said, with people that I'm friends with and those that I know that have, always less is the way you need to go. Like, you got like the tiniest amount is the way that it works. If you because once you go over the edge, you'll never come back. That's it. Ship sailed.
You can always do more if you think what you did wasn't enough, but you can't really pull it back once it's, you can
never pull it back.
It's a big rigmarole.
And once you get like the dysmorphia about your face, once your face ceases to look like your face, then it's chasing a dragon that you don't even remember what it looks like.
Yeah.
So that's my advice for you today about fillers. And also just like, I personally, even if Caissie is trying to push them on you,
push her.
Even if Caissie is telling you, or what you're hearing from Caissie in this moment is that you really need to get fillers.
I'm not contractually obligated to not get fillers, so I'm like, put it in.
No, I just don't. I feel like personally, we could all benefit from everyone just taking a break from the injectables in our faces.
All
I mean, and when I say our, I mean not mine, because I've never done it. I mean the rest of you bitches. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I think it ages people. Honestly, I'm like so sick of seeing Botoxed faces. I think it like makes. I just don't like it. I canceled my pole dancing, by the way.
Oh, great.
I couldn't take it today. It's too hard, guys. It's so fucking hard.
Well, and if you're dealing with the personal situation down there,
I mean,
today's the day to cancel.
You're not feeling it today.
I did go. I went on Sunday.
Yeah, you did.
I powered through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeast and all, or whatever.
Candida and all.
Bacterial vaginosis and all. We'll find out. I'll let you guys know. Until then, hit me up. Reach out to us at busydoingherbest@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope this week wasn't a disappointment without Shantira. I feel like we did a good job.
We did okay. Obviously we miss her
so much.
And we've been talking to her and
Caissie, it's just so funny. You're Busy's like, hey, I hope we did great, and you're like, we did okay. Just the juxtaposition.
Caissie never, what? People love Shantira.
People love Shantira, and we love Shantira, and so it'll never be the same without her. But we're
not trying to replace her. We could never replace her.
It's not
anyone who's ever had a step parent knows how that goes. And the thing is, it's different for everybody. Everybody's experience of new versus old is different. So, we can't tell you how to feel about Shantira not being here. What I will say is that Shantira was like, I got to take a break from the podcast because I'm so busy. And I just texted her more than ever. So I'm really not helping the situation. So
I know we like our group chat's off the charts now. And I also truly, again, I know we've talked about this and we talked about it with Shantira, but I really respect like her ability to know when things might like are too much. You know what I mean? I've never known it.
Yeah.
I've never been able to identify it for myself until I'm literally like, you know, overrun with candida because I'm burning the candle at both ends, proverbially and maybe literally, maybe that's what's causing the yeast. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
You're like, you've heard the phrase like your eyes are bigger than your stomach when you're like filling up your plate.
Yes.
That's Busy's. Like Busy's eyes are bigger than her stomach when it comes to doing things.
That's right. And especially when it comes to doing my best. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Like and comment, subscribe, smash that button. Recommend the podcast to your friends. We need more listeners. Apparently, our numbers aren't great. All right. I love you. Bye. Oh, no.